Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking forward to the next chapter of Minagoroshi as much as I am? Because I sure am. I'm sure looking forward to this, man. We got Hanyu coming. Hanyu's fucking amazing. I'd like to see some more scenes with Hanyu, and that's all you need to know. I mean, the rest of the story is interesting, but hey, having a new cute character, a nice Oni, it's always fun to have around. I'm hoping we get a few more scenes with her before this arc's over, and we're only halfway through, so we'll see. Damn it, why'd she do that? Why'd she do what? That's about what I expected. Mion called me in the middle of the night. The social worker went to Satoko's house tonight after getting a call from the school. They had a talk with Satoko and her uncle. He told them Satoko didn't go to school today because of a cold, and he claimed he didn't call the school because he didn't have the number. He explained he spoke with Chie-sensei politely, and she just misunderstood his behavior. Satoko didn't really talk, but she never denied what her uncle was saying. So she said there's no abuse, and she doesn't need any help? Yep. Satoko always thought that her brother disappeared because she kept relying on him. That's why. She thinks she needs to handle it on her own without seeing anyone's help? That's ridiculous. According to the social worker, she didn't have any obvious injuries, so they think it isn't an urgent case. It seems she's being fed and she has a place to sleep. Shouldn't that be a given? Are you saying it's not abuse as long as she has to eat and somewhere to sleep? Yeah, pretty much. That's how they view it, at least. In some cases, people refuse to even let the social worker inside the house just because they're able to talk with the uncle. They determined it couldn't be that urgent. So after all that, they decided to wait and see. I bet Shion's disappointed. Yeah, she, just like how Satoko refuses to seek anyone's help because of Satoshi, Shion's also trying to save Satoko because of him. She seems calm now, though, even though she's pretty upset. I know this isn't the time for complaining, but where the hell did Satoshi go? His sister's in danger? I have no idea where he is. I know, I'm sorry. I was hoping he could save her if he came back, but it's a waste of time to think about that. I can't hope for someone else to save her. We're the ones who will. That's right. We have to do what we can. I'm impressed with the power of the Sonozaki family, though. You got information from the social worker already? You must have a spy in the center. That's a national secret. So, you know someone who knows a lot about the center? Did they give you any idea what we should do next? Well, I was advised to stay calm and see what happens. The hell? Did you talk to them about the situation? Her uncle's locking her up and he's abusing her. Why should we just kick back and see what happens? Well, Keiichi, it's not my opinion, okay? I'm just, telling you what I was told by my contact. See, it is true Satoko didn't show up at school today, but it's just one day. It's not like she's been absent for weeks or months. We can't really deny the possibility she has a cold. But she's being abused? You know, you're saying we should stay calm while she's being physically and emotionally harmed? Wait a minute, Keiichi, that's the whole point. We're concerned because we know what happened to her last year, but she wasn't hurt yesterday or today. We can't really prove it if she's being abused or not. She may or may not have a bruise on her body, but it's only a matter of time. Keiichi, for one, is very confident this is what's going to happen. Besides, isn't it abuse to force her to come back and live with him? Remember what we were talking about at school? It's normal for a legal guardian to take the child under their custody. We can't definitely say it's abuse yet. But we should do something before it happens? Sorry for yelling at you. I knew that wasn't Mion's opinion, but it felt like she was telling me that, and I raised my voice. When I sensed her dismay, I quickly apologized. I explained to my contact what happened to Satoko last year, but last year's case was resolved by waiting it out too. Last year's abuse stopped because someone fucking died. Actually, you know what? I'm surprised they don't have that. The abuse stopped when the man's wife got murdered and he fled town for a year. How is that not the most... how is that not, literally a massive red flag? Someone literally had to die to stop this last time. In fact, 2 people died. And you're like, well, if we wait it out again, he might die and it'll all be over. Great job. The Pain Pecco piano? Oh no. Oh no, time to go to the Pain Pecco piano. Oh no. I know where this is going. It's not like the Child Consultation Center resolved it. Well, still, either way, both last year and now, the Child Consultation Center doesn't think her case warrants that much urgency. It seems our opponents this time is the difference in urgency between us and them. I see. Well, we've done what we can. Now we just need to come up with a plan B. We should have a meeting tomorrow with all the fearless members of our club. We've gone through worse than this before. We'll save her for sure. Yeah. As we spoke, I felt less angry about the decision the Child Consultation Center made. It was something we expected anyway. I was being emotional for a while, but Mion wasn't taking it personally. She's usually tough, but I know she feels very weak when something like this happens. I gotta be careful not to get too emotional with her. Our enemy was Tepe. Again, I'm saying, if there's people looking for him, just point out where he is and be like, hey, we know where he is. We'll tell you. We'll tell you on one condition. Not even a cost. One condition. You gotta leave Satoko alone. Everyone else, don't give a fuck. I couldn't yell at my friends because I was frustrated. I almost forgot sometimes that Mion's a girl. There's no way of yelling at her without cause wouldn't hurt her. I think I have a tendency to lash out with my emotions sometimes. I definitely need to rein in that bad habit, especially during emergencies like this. All I could do by myself was, well, probably the same thing Shion was suggesting earlier. But I knew it wouldn't make Satoko happy. We club members. We're fearless. The power I possess, though, is the smallest among all of us. That's why I needed to communicate with them. If we united, we'd be able to come up with a better plan. I couldn't think of a plan by myself. 3 heads, that might be better than 1. We would definitely figure something out. I'm gonna call Rika. You call Reina? Sure. Reina was a good match for Shion today. She impressed me a lot. She's tough when push comes to shove. Yeah, Reina's always reliable when we're in trouble. You impressed me too, Kei-chan. You're kinda cool today. I kinda just feel embarrassed. That speech was a little corny, right? I'm hanging up now. I'm sure Reina's waiting. Give her a call, okay? Yeah, say hi to Rika. I think she's been hurt the most by all this. Rika was looking at the ground with a depressed look on her face all day. My chest hurt just remembering it. It must be even more painful to look at Satoko. Mion hung up the phone, and I also hung up, then called Reina. She picked up the phone after 1 ring, which surprised me. It's like she was sitting right beside the phone. Hello, Reina? You were waiting for the call, right? Yeah, I called you, but it was busy, so I didn't know what to do. You called me when I was talking with Mion. She's calling Rika right now. She told me to call you, so let me explain. Is the case on hold? Yeah. Unfortunately. I'm really upset, but that's what we expected. I guess I can guess what they said. It's only been a day. There's nothing definite. She might have missed school because she really had a cold. Plus, she doesn't have any obvious injuries. I mean, you could say, okay, she has a cold. I mean, I feel like the service worker is fucking useless because there's like 20 people complaining. If they took 2 seconds to talk to them, they'd be like, okay, so where was she living yesterday? She's living with someone else, and she didn't come home. Okay, that's like moderately concerning. She didn't have a cold all day, and then she just didn't show up at school the next day because when her dad showed up, and he said she had a cold. That's suspicious, right? That's a little bit suspicious. Oh, and you saw her walking around serving her dad while he was playing Mahjong. Well, that's interesting. Alright. She doesn't have any obvious injuries. Is my guess right? Did you put a bug on my phone? Yeah, you got it exactly right. It's total BS. It's been a day. It's such a horrible phrase, isn't it? Especially since it'll be too late after it really hurts her. Actually, funny story. They do this in real life too. I was actually just Friday listening to a story. I forget who it was about. It was about some guy who got famous doing I think you call CS:GO YouTube stuff. And he had like a crazy manic episode, a huge mental breakdown. And legit drove his McLaren in the oncoming of a freeway. And he's like, he's like thought for some reason that if he went fast enough, he could like no clip through cars. He was going fucking crazy. So his parents, being the smart people they are, they called their neighbor up, who's a certified psychiatrist. And she called the police asking them to take him to a mental hospital before he hurt someone. And they were like, it's only a day, it'll be fine. And they're like, he literally drove like 150 miles an hour on the freeway on the oncoming lane late at night. Like, this isn't safe. This isn't safe, guys. And he's planning on doing it again. We literally they blocked the driveway so he couldn't get out with his car. And the cops were like, it'll be fine. Literally the same day, he takes his car, rams through his parents' SUV, goes on the freeway, kills 3 people, and himself. Or sorry, 2 people and himself. Fun times. So the cops don't like doing anything proactively, and neither does child services. And this story rings very true, I'm sure, right? It's frustrating when you know what's obviously going to happen, but police and child services are not particularly useful at getting anyone out of stopping anything bad from happening. They only do something after a problem's occurred. It really does. Since Satoko's injuries are going to be plain for anyone to see. If that happens, her uncle will never let any social workers see her, and they'll just say they couldn't find any signs of abuse and go back to waiting again. It's such a huge contradiction, isn't it? Apparently they need court approval for forced entry, but applying for that isn't easy. So while social workers may be supposed to have great legal power, in reality, their hands are tied and they can't act if the family turns them away. They're not the police. They're not the ones who storm in, even if they have to break windows to do so. And the police only do that when they're certain they have so much overwhelming force no one would ever hurt them. Damn it, who has the right to break those windows? If we did, I'd smash them wide open. Well, anyway, they're not serious about the case. They have no idea what'll happen to Satoko if we don't do anything about it. I'm impressed. Wait, why? You just moved onto the village not too long ago. You've only known her for a few months, but you're so serious about saving her. You don't even know what happened to her last year. You could imagine how hurt she is right now? If you were an ordinary person, I'm sure he'd tell us. Just relax, it's only been a day. Well, it's not that difficult to imagine how horrible it is for her. He's also lived in a timeline where he waited a few weeks, so he has a bit more information than most people, right? I also heard from you guys how terrible it was last year. It's no question this case requires immediate attention. That's still impressive. You stopped Chi-chan when she tried to leave the classroom. What you said there was pretty deep. Do you think Satoko would appreciate it if you saved her by committing murder? It's not something an average boy would say. In fact, sorry, but I thought you were going to say something like what Chi-chan suggested. Well, that's our Reina. She saw right through me to the core. To be honest, I was able to keep my calm because Shion caused the commotion. I too thought our only option was to kill him. But what's there to hesitate about? Everything would be resolved if we went over and killed her uncle right away. I thought the same thing myself. And then I thought about how I'd actually kill him. First, I'd assault him with a metal bat or something. Convenient we have one of those. Before that, I'd scope out his house, dig the hole to bury his body in ahead of time, and when I envisioned myself actually digging the hole with a camping shovel in the woods. I repeated "this is for Satoko" in my head like a mantra, trying to forget the weight of the murder ahead. I relived that exhaustion, frustration. I could very clearly imagine myself standing there, soaking with sweat and covered in mosquito bites. And I'm sure I'd call her uncle or something to lure him out of the house and bludgeon him to death. Then I repeated my mantra, "this is for Satoko," blaming her for that serious crime as I tried to avoid my own guilt over committing murder. Did Satoko ask me to do that? Am I gonna blame it all on her because I committed murder? Would she appreciate that? No, she wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to tell anyone I killed someone. No one would appreciate my deed, and I'd have to carry that burden for the rest of my life. That pathetic future is one I couldn't have imagined in the rush I felt before carrying out the murder. I decided to kill him so I could return us to happier times, but the act of murder meant shattering the thin path that could lead us back there. They seem confident that killing someone is never the answer, but I'm like always putting big question marks around that in my head. I'm like, is killing someone literally never the answer? I don't know about that. I was able to imagine it that far ahead. That's why I didn't say it out loud like Shion did. If I hadn't thought that far, I probably would have joined Shion in shouting "kill him." It would have been hopeless if you'd done that. Glad you had such a vivid imagination. But was it really my imagination? Did I imagine killing your uncle in my mind? Could imagination alone really be that vivid? I could smell the earth. I could taste the scattered dirt flying into my mouth. I could see the pebbles scattered as I shoved my shovel down, hear the roots cracking from its weight. The image was so real, it felt more like I'd actually done it in the past. That's right. It's important to imagine the consequences. Right. I like how he's not thinking, man, I'll go to jail. It's like, oh man. Man, it'd be a real pain to kill someone. I don't think Satoko would actually like that. It's probably the right train of thought. You're like, well, is it really the best answer? Well, it doesn't actually lead there. If you're predicting that, like, if you're predicting that the outcome is what you desire, that kind of works. Do you want to grow up with no imagination? I think you'll grow up to be a calm, reasonable adult, Keiichi-kun. I wonder if that was my only imagination. I feel like I've been through a different life before. People with good imaginations can take a look at every possibility. If you really felt like you saw the future, I think it wasn't just your imagination. You saw something that could have happened. In that imaginary world, the Child Consultation Center put her case on hold too. Satoko came back to school for a while, but she broke after only a few days. She was bearing the abuse, but even something small would be enough to break her. Just like an old bowl that has a crack in it. One day that crack will eventually widen and the bowl will shatter. In my imaginary world, Satoko broke when I rubbed her head. She thought my hand was her uncle's hand. She pushed me away and hid beneath the curtain, crying for her brother. I told you, she called her brother Nini. Huh? Oh, I don't know. I guess someone did. That's what she calls Satoshi, right? Anyway, it was devastating to hear her cry like that, and I wanted to comfort her, but I couldn't even get close. She cried more as I walked closer to her because she thought I was her uncle. You're amazing, Keiichi. I can't believe that was only your imagination. That's exactly how Satoko was last year. I remember it clearly. It's impressive how you can imagine since you've only been here a few months. Very interesting. You really are amazing, so that explains why you feel the same urgency we do. Do you feel the same way I do? Yeah, I can't imagine it as clearly as you have, but I think Satoko's gonna break in a few days if we don't do anything about this. I think she'll hide behind the curtain and scream for Nini. That's when we'll finally realize something. It's not a crime to be powerless. It's a crime to do nothing. It's only in my imagination, but I'm crying as though it's happening right in front of me. Reina can also sense how urgently we need to save Satoko. Not everyone feels that way, though. My friends all do, but they're special. And normal people like those at the Child Consultation Center see us as overreacting. I feel like if you had like 2 brain cells, if you realized that literally murdering one of the people was the previous solution to the abuse allegations, you probably should try to solve it if they're like, it's still happening, he's back. Like, how is that not the most straightforward thing? It's like, the abuse stopped because he left town after someone murdered his wife. And you're saying, you want to, like, leave it and wait and see if he gets killed too? Like, are you a retard? Like, how stupid are you? Whatever. Like, you have to actually be... You have to have, like, no brain cells to not be able to realize that the last time the solution was murdering someone. Like, you managed to stop it by scaring him out of town by killing his wife. And you're like, now he's back? And you're like, what the fuck do you think's gonna happen? He doesn't have any other people you can kill to scare him off. Like... You're like baiting another murder? That's so stupid. Like Child Consultation Service. Yeah, we know last time someone died, but, well, we're gonna wait and see if someone else dies this time. Like, okay. There's only 2 people left in the family. There's no longer a family of 4, so good luck. I have a point, though. You don't have anything to say back to them if they're gonna claim it's only one day. It's just like getting a cold. Doctors always say, well, let's see what happens for a few days. Reina, I think we should trust our instincts. We have no time to spare. We need to save Satoko now. Yeah, even if I can't come up with the idea on our own, together we can accomplish anything. I was down and depressed before someone told me the same thing. I think now's the time to come together and show people what we can do. Yeah, I don't know who told you that, but that's exactly how I feel. It was strange. I've had this feeling since Reina told me this story at school. It felt like I too once learned a lesson after some big event, but Reina and I only met yet recently. I guess it's just a coincidence. Anyway, I was so lonely inside my imagination, I thought it's stupid for them to only sit and think about how they could save Satoko, and I made a selfish decision, but eventually I learned, just like Reina did. You never come up with anything good by worrying about something on your own. You gotta talk to your friends, and that way they'll help you reach the best possible solution. You said something when you stood in Shishan's way today. You told her, trust you. You said you didn't have an idea yet, but you'd find one soon. I'm gonna trust you. I think you'll come up with the best solution. Don't rely on me. You gotta give me ideas if you have any. That's not what I meant. I have faith in my friends at all times. I'm gonna trust us. I know we can save Satoko, but we're not gonna use a shortcut. That's right. We'll save her from this mess. Keep on believing. I believe in us too. I'll never think I'm the only one who's trying to save her. I'll believe that all of us feel the same way. Let's have a meeting tomorrow. Chie-sensei might have new information too. We may not be able to come up with a good idea right away, but she might have something. Yeah, you're right. I know there's always another option. That's right, we're not gonna give up. There's a better way. I'm sure there is. I can't find it right away, but we'll never give up. Alright, no. We're not ever giving up. Mion praised her for it, but Reina's really strong in a crisis. I got a little emotional when I was talking with Mion, but Reina is different. Her fire is quiet and blue. At first glance, it seems lesser than my bright red, roaring blaze, but the truth is the opposite. Blue flame burns far hotter. As I spoke with Reina, I felt my useless, wild energy calming down so I could rationally search for the best solution. I'm curious what they're going to come up with here. 24-hour surveillance, perhaps? Maybe. A more rational argument? Are they going to disrupt class and be like, yeah, we're not having class until this happens? That could be it. That could be a protest. That could be fun. Do some passive protesting. You're like, yeah, I'm not gonna participate in school until you fix this problem. That could be an interesting way. I don't think we've seen them try to protest at the school. That could be a potential and amusing solution. Through that, I felt Reina's strength, though apparently Reina felt similarly about me. When I talk with you, I feel like I can accomplish anything. You're so strong and reliable. I feel more courageous when I talk with you. I feel more confident we can save Satoko. Get calmness from you, and you get confidence from me. We balance each other out like that, huh? We're a good combination. Mei-chan has a lot of powers. Remember the Sonosakis, but he has a frail heart. I believe you and I can support her. Right. We got nothing to be scared of. I agree. Talking to Reina made me feel very confident. If I can share that confidence with my friends, I'll never feel down and miserable ever again. I'm going to give my power to the other club members so we can fight even harder. She gets depressed right now. She lost her will to fight, but I'm sure she'll get that will back when she sees us working hard. Right, once she gets her willpower back, nothing will stop us. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's talk about our plan and involve the principal too. We should get advice from as many people as possible. Let's find the best possible solution. That's the best thing we can do right now, right? Yeah. Right. I got off the phone with Reina. It was a pretty passionate conversation we were having. It's unfortunate the Child Consultation Center came to the conclusion they did, but if they could decide to wait and see, then that proves Satoko was still safe for now. We're no more than children. Worrying about it too much won't cause us to come up with a good idea. Murder isn't a great solution, but I had to admit, he says it's not a real solution. I'm like, it's not a great one right now, maybe. I thought about it once. It's easy to burn up in a rage. However, I'd have to stay calm like Reina. She was still burning up, burning very calmly with a blue, quiet flame. I'd never seen something like that before. Keiichi, go take a bath already. Hurry up. Looks like your parents are calling for you to take a bath. I heard my mom speaking to me. You can go ahead of me, Mom. I needed more time to think about what to do with Satoko. Everyone else was probably doing the same. How much brain power do you need to take a bath, my dude? Or a shower? Like, honestly, how can you not, like, how do you even need to use your, like, mental processing power to, like, go through the motions of, like, washing your hair and having a shower? It's so easy. Everyone was probably doing the same. You should go first. There's bath salt from real hot springs in there. It feels really good on your skin. I don't think there's bath salt in real hot springs. Milk tastes good after a bath. My dad seemed to be in a good mood. He probably finished his work. He's as scary as a bear when he has artist's block. Maybe my parents could help with an idea? They're the closest adults to me, after all. Did I talk to them? That's a stupid question. I have no reason not to. I'd have to talk to them and seek some advice. Interesting. We've never actually talked to our parents about any of these problems. Let's see if this gets us anywhere. This is the first time our character's ever done this, by the way. Alright, so he wants to talk to his parents about something. Let's see if this works out. What? What's this? Is it about the auction at the festival? Yep, you have my full support. Speaking of which, when is the next festival committee meeting? They called me to participate too. I'll have to mark my calendar. Oh, it's not about that. My classmate's in trouble. As I talked about Satoko, my mom joined us and listened as well. My dad is a strange artist, but my mom's a normal person with common sense. She might be able to help. I called a call and found out they put her case on hold. We're wondering what we should do now. Well, they already called child services. You should let them take care of it. She was being abused last year. I don't know how bad it was, but I think it's wrong for him to force her to move out of her friend's place. He was neglecting her for a year, after all. We can't just wait and see what happens because the center said to. Wait, you should say, I don't know if he's told his parents, but, like, the reason the abuse wasn't terrible this year was literally because someone got fucking murdered and the guy fled the town. Like, that's how it ended last time. You can't say it's gonna happen again because you shouldn't be hoping someone gets murdered to solve your problems for you. We're friends, we want to be more aggressive about helping her, but we have no idea how we can do that. Keiichi, don't even think about attacking him. I'm not. I wouldn't talk to you if that was what was on my mind. True. I thought you might ask us how to commit a perfect crime. Hey, I'd never ask my parents something like that, I think. Keiichi, you're right. There's many battles in this world, but it's always important you follow the rules. People won't help you if you're going to break them, and they won't respect you either. You have to fight according to the rules. So, are there even rules for battles? Well, anyway, do you have any ideas? My parents have been alive for more than twice as long as me. They must have had some experience with things like this. I mean, I haven't, and I'm probably older. I'm almost twice as. Wait, am I twice as old as Keiichi? I might be. I might be twice as old as Keiichi, and I don't have any experience with it. Too much experience with this, other than saying, well, typically, the best response is to just like leave your parents and don't see them for the next like X years. But it's gonna be pretty hard because it's gonna be to run away from home and live with someone else. But it's gonna be pretty hard considering the place you're gonna live doesn't have an actual guardian either. So ideally, she'd have to like run away and live with Keiichi or something, and just be like, well, she doesn't feel safe here, and we can take care of her. And we like, and then you just do that. Although if the child services or cops get involved again, I mean, that's not fun. But if she's running away and actively trying to stay at people's houses because she doesn't feel safe at home, I mean, eventually Teppei's probably okay. Probably gonna be okay with that. I mean, he's hiding out in town, right? That's usually the solution. I think I know for most of the people I've spoken to who have problems at home. They usually just stay at a friend's house. They usually just run away and stay at a friend's house, and don't tell their parents which of their friends it is, or their friends' parents cover for them. Or eventually they just don't give a fuck and they're like, yeah, whatever, okay, stay at your friend's house. That's usually how it goes. I have a few friends who, I have a few friends who do that, and then like the minute they had like the minute they could get emancipated from their parents at like 16 or something, they fucking did it and moved into their own place. I knew a couple people in high school. I knew at least one person in high school, possibly two. I don't remember. I didn't know the second person's situation that well that did that. They already had an apartment. They already had an apartment at 16. They must have many good ideas. At least that's what I thought. But they crossed their arms and went silent. Well, calling child services is the first thing you should do, but what do you do if that doesn't work? You think we can even rely on the law? Do you think the police won't do anything until she's seriously injured? I think you have to make an appeal. An appeal? What do you mean, sue? No. Child Center is supposed to take care of the child abuse cases, but if you're unsatisfied with the decision, make an appeal to the court? Keiichi, you go to court when you can't resolve an issue with the person you're dealing with. It's the final place you go to. You want the center to protect Satoko, right? But they made a decision you disagree with. And? So you file an appeal with them same day? How long does an appeal take to process? Actually, more amusingly, can only one person file an appeal? Can we have like 15 people make an appeal to them on the same day? Like, hey, we called up, you got rejected, and then you have like 15 people sign appeals, and you're like, we have 15 appeals from the same person. This is a bit of a problem. Because that would give you like weight of several people being seriously concerned instead of just the principal. If like everyone in her class files an appeal, does that work? We should make an appeal to the Child Consultation Center. If we're unsatisfied with the decision, we can simply go and tell them that. We need to go there and explain to them how serious the case is. That sounds good. They have no idea what the situation's in right now. Since they're misunderstanding what's going on, you have to go there and make it clear. I see. That's the best approach. I don't know about that. I heard they never change their decisions once made. It might just be a waste of time. Like I said, if you have to file appeals, you file like 50 of them. And then every time they look at it, they're like, we're going to put it on hold. And they're like, wait, we received 15 of these from like 10 different families? We don't know until we try. Giving up before trying is what losers do. We gotta try everything we can. Remember what the principal said? We'll fail if we give up before trying. Shion, your fire is blazing bright red, ready to rock whenever it takes, even if it's acting hasty to save Satoko. But surely, the really hot fire is blue and calm. Don't give up. We'll do everything we can. What do you think, Chie? Am I wrong? No, you're not saying anything wrong. You've calmed down a lot. I was concerned for you because I thought you might come up with an idea to attack from the dark. That's what my mom was saying. Isn't that how people perceive me? I thought we should wait and see what happens. But after hearing everything all you said, I think And thinking about what happened last year, I understand this is an emergency situation. People can change their minds if you're persuasive enough. The child center might change their mind too. They might reverse their decision if you succeed in making an appeal. What do you think, Shi-chan? You should fight with us rather than thinking about it alone. I'm not feeling lonely. I'm just sad because I'm all alone. You do sound awfully sad, actually. Maybe you want to join us? Whatever. Fine then. Let's go to the Child Consultation Center. I'm gonna punch them in their face if they don't do something. Not a good idea, but I feel your passion now. I guess you calm down after getting some sleep. But I'm just serious about this is all. Shion's still best girl, sorry guys. Let's go make it happen. I know where the Child's Consultation Center is. This old man didn't know until recently, but it's on the first floor of the library. Mion grinned and showed us the location on a city guidebook. She's really prepared for this. The office is open until 5:15. Don't try to pick a fight with them. We have to stay calm. What? Are you talking to me, sis? Who do you think I am? I'll cry if I have to. Our goal is to make them change their mind. Oh, that's it, Shi-chan. I think we can make it if we leave right now. It was 3:30. We'd make it before they closed if we rushed there on our bikes, but they're strict about time, aren't they? They might kick us out as soon as it's time to close. Oh, the door will close on time, but once we're in, they'll never kick us out. Listen, make sure you don't give in when negotiating with these officials. Officials are surprisingly tough, but unlike private citizens, they're not allowed to end the discussion on their own. So when you feel like you can't get anywhere by continuing the discussion, don't give in. Just dig deep and make sure they listen to everything we have to say. How do you know that, Nichan? Who do you think I am? I represent Oryu, member of the mayor's social gathering and the local government monitoring committee. I speak to government officials all the time. Hey, Mion, is it possible to save her using the influence of the family? Well, not if I have to go through Granny. Ugh. Impossible to get help from her. Her mind's still stuck in the dam conflict. 100 million with one spirit and stuff like that. She hates the Hojo family to this day. You're talking about Satoko's parents, who were there for the dam project? I never met your grandma, but she needs to learn how to forgive, and it's a thing of the past now, right? Exactly. I agree with you, Keiichi. Why is Shion so cute? It's not fair. It's not fair how cute Shion is. The Sonozaki family can't do anything about it? Yeah, we can't. I'm sorry, old people are just so stubborn. They cherish Rika, but they don't care about Satoko. It's horrible. I can't forgive Satoko's uncle for aggressively abusing her, but I'm not gonna forgive other people for abusing her either. Tell those people to piss off. Not to piss off Keiichi. I'll do that. Not to piss off Keiichi. Shall we go now? We got no time to waste. Alright, we better hurry. Let's get going. Do you want to come with us, Rika? Let's go. Let's go. Reina spoke to Rika, who'd been avoiding all conversation. She seemed to have given up all hope yesterday. It was really painful to see her so depressed. A waste of time anyway. You have to stop saying anyway. You don't have to waste time unless we try. You did everything you could in your last lives, but you never found a way to save her. You think this time's going to be different? Sometimes I had no idea what she was saying. All I could tell is that she was being negative about the situation. You tried going to the Child Consultation Center already? Then we should try. Satoko, it's important to you, isn't she? We have to try and see what happens. I'm sure Satoko needs your help right now. This world's gonna end soon anyway. What's wrong? We gotta hurry up. Rika doesn't seem to be interested. So much for friends. She's so close to Satoko, but she won't even get off her butt to save her. I never thought I'd hear you say something like that. You used to hate her so much. What? Is your brain working alright? Why would I hate Satoko? Never mind. I'll come with you people. I have nothing to do at home but drink until I pass out anyway. Wait, you're pissing me off. Are you trying to make a fool out of me? Stop it, Shi-chan. You stop it too, Rika. Rika just baiting people. Let's go. Let's get together and save Satoko. Come on, we can save Satoko, guys. I'm sure we can make a miracle happen if we work together. We need everyone to come together. We can't leave anyone else behind. We need you too, Rika. Something that Reina said must have given Rika-chan motivation. That's a thought. I could see a slight sparkle in her eyes. Reina said something interesting. She said we could make a miracle happen. It's the same thing I said when this world began. And that time I said I could make a miracle happen, but I didn't say how. Reina clearly just stated that. We can make it happen if we work together. Let's work some miracles. Miracles happen when we work together. And what if there's no miracle? Well, we haven't tried hard enough. We'll do the best we can. A miracle will happen for sure. It's true. Ryuko-san's right. People get stronger when they help each other. You can overcome any obstacle when everyone works together. Yep, Inamizawa was fated to be submerged underwater, but 2,000 people got together and brought an end to that destiny. Bring an end to that destiny. As villagers of Inamizawa, we all know that miracles do happen. We'll win if we work hard together. I think you have no choice but to come with us now, Rika-chama. If you don't come, a miracle won't occur. Your absence will prevent it from happening. So it's gonna be my fault. Oh, interesting. A miracle is something we can make happen, but we need everyone's power to make it come true. Destiny can be defeated and fate escaped from. This can happen with a miracle, and it will happen if we unite. So, that's the plan. That's the plan. We're going to the Child Consultation Center and filing an appeal. Alright, good luck. Rana told me yesterday you never come up with a solution if you think about everything by yourself. We gotta talk this out together. Don't let fate get the better of you. It's as fragile as a thin piece of paper. But how could he say that without knowing how stubborn it can be? To me, a witch trapped within fate. But for some reason, his words sounded persuasive, and he easily changed my fate to play the fishing game. But you didn't even try! All you had to do was say something like, I don't want to play that game today. And you didn't even try to change it. Like, it was like a 1 second change. All you had to do is be like, I don't feel like playing this, and people changed for you. In my previous life, Keiichi saved Reina from her devastating fate. As fragile as a thin sheet of paper, he's saying that the world I've been struggling in for a century is that easy to change. Keiichi made a fool out of me. Interesting. I'll go with you. Well, that's more like you, Rika. Oh, Rika, are you sure? Anyu looked at me with concern. She wanted to warn me I'd get hurt if I expect too much. I don't have any coins left to pay. I don't have anything to lose. This world's ending soon anyway, but it's the same in my previous life. I thought all was lost when Reina took over, but Keiichi turned everything around. He's saying fate's as fragile as a piece of paper. I've given up on the world, but I'm interested. Fate will betray you anyway. I'll get hurt as I see it happen to you. Oh, don't worry. I'm not going to get depressed anymore. I don't have any tears to shed. I know they can't save Satoko. That's why I'm doing this. It's the first time we've gone to the Child Consultation Center. Keiichi can't make miracles happen. Anyu spoke to me in a stern voice. Miracles are called miracles because they don't happen easily. If it could happen at any time, it's not a miracle. It's just something that was meant to be. I'm not expecting anything. I'm just interested. Come on, Rika. I'm curious how Keiichi is going to make his move after saying how easily he can change fate. Rika, please don't hurt yourself anymore. That's none of your business. Get out of here. Dismissing Hanyu. That's so mean. The poor ghost girl. I wasn't expecting anything. I was just trying to enjoy my last week alive like watching a TV show, but I had to admit I was possessed by a strange feeling. It was a little bit exhilarating. I was nervous, as if anticipating something. I'd felt the same way when Keiichi remembered the memories from the past in my previous life. I didn't have coins left to make a bet, but I knew what this feeling meant. If I had a coin left in my heart, I would have bet everything on this feeling. If it doesn't work out for trying every option, we'll have no choice but to give up. There's no need for us to give up. Toku's gonna be saved. You had better prepare a clean blanket for her. Coming back to you soon. And I'd feel bad if she didn't have a soft bed waiting for her. I like that, Keiichi. Well, let's go. You might tear apart fate like a thin sheet of paper after all. Right, now I feel like it could take on the ruler of hell. We skipped Lucifer and just went to the ruler of hell. Alright. I'm gonna make them change their decision. Maybe they thought Lucifer was too offensive. I stood up from my seat. Keiichi is a very good speaker, and that's why I never get bored with him. I've been with him for 100 years, but he keeps me entertained. Going to the Child Consultation Center now. Do you want to come with us, Chie-sensei? I'm going to talk to the Board of Education. They're under the same branch of government as Child Consultation Center. It might help if I talk to them. After all, I'm working for the public, too. That's true. They might listen to what you say. Let's have her take care of that while we take care of our business. Let's fight them. Alright. Oh, she actually said alright. Let's go, everybody. Hey, come on. Alright. A bit of a bike. They close at 5, so it's an hour and a half of biking from the school, by the way. A bit more than that, because they said it was just after 3. Not 3 at 3. Not half past 3, so we're looking at like almost 2 hours of biking. Even knowing that everything is doomed, part of me felt like something good might happen. Hanyu told me it was only a waste of time, and I felt the same way until a few minutes ago, but I'd become much more interested. I had no idea what would happen. I wanted to see how Keiichi was planning to defeat this destiny. I raised my fist in the air along with them and hurried to the exit. As for Satoko, well, she didn't come to school again today. Teppei called the school and told them she still has a fever. He said he's going to keep her home for a few days until she gets better. Chia said she thinks Teppei knows she called Child's Consultation Center. He must be worried that Satoko will rat him out if he lets her go to school. I don't want to think about that, but it's possible. Satoko has visible bruises by now. That could also be why he doesn't let her go to school. Everything was happening much earlier. Satoko's situation was worsening faster than it did in my previous lives. We've sped up the tempo. Everything's going faster. Even the background music's got quite the rhythm to it. A high BPM. Here we go. We're at the library. Library is in Okonomiya, as I recall. Like they're gonna make us wait. Those people seem to be afraid. They should let us talk to them. Those are just general office workers. We gotta talk to the actual social worker responsible for the case. I wonder if they're busy because they have a lot of cases like this. I don't know. I wish they didn't have so many issues to deal with. It smells tragic. So many kids are being abused. Yes, they're probably underfunded. After about 30 minutes, they finally called my name. I wrote down my name at the registration as Mion can't let them know she's from the Sonozaki family. I might borrow. My name was called? I went to the receptionist to find a uniformed older lady. She must be one of the office workers Mion mentioned. Was she really going to be the one dealing with it? Hello, my Bara-san. I see you're here with 4 other friends. How can I help you today? The only thing I wrote on the registration was I wanted to talk about Satoko Hojo. Well, we're here to talk about Satoko Hojo's case. Chie from the branch school called and made a report yesterday. We'd like to discuss it. Are you her friends? Yes, we're classmates. Would you please give me a general summary of what you wish to discuss? I heard you guys put a hold on it because you thought there wasn't any abuse happening, so we came today to explain the situation in a little more detail. Oh, I see. Please wait a few more minutes. And that was it from her then. A real social worker should be coming here to talk to us. She was just asking us basic information. With that done, she was talking on the phone and explaining to someone what I just told her. What did she ask? She asked me why I was here. She told me to wait a few more minutes. I hate waiting like this. Bureaucracy, everybody. Are those posters and advertisements you've been reading that interesting me? I see lots of flyers about abuse. I guess we came to the right place. Support the abuse before it escalates. Check out that slogan. Check it out. There's a bunch of posters with slogans like that in here. I feel like all you should have to tell her is, yeah, the reason we weren't reporting it for the last year was because she wasn't living with her uncle, because the aunt got murdered and he fled town. If you're thinking that that was a good solution, you have to be out of your fucking mind, right? That should be the most straightforward thing. It's like, we reported shit last year, and you know how it ended? Someone literally died. And then she stopped living with her uncle. We're telling you, within a day, it started again. He moved back. And it's already back. We're already there, and we're like, does someone else need to fucking die before you do some shit? I mean, honestly, probably someone else needs to die, but, you know, that's how anime all works. People are gonna die. People are gonna die. It's, people are gonna die around Kanagashi. It's the pattern now. We're going on 5 years. Someone's gonna die, I guess. Maybe this time it won't be any of the kids causing the murders. There's a bunch of posters like that in there. I guess that's what the Child Consultation Center's for. Did any help if it's inside the building, though? Rika was right. That's true. It's not very useful if no one actually goes into the office. They should be posting them all over the city, not just inside the building. My Bara-sama, thank you for waiting. Please go to the room number 2. Oh, it's our turn now. All right, let's go. What's the plan? As we walked, we saw rooms numbered 1 through 3. I thought we were going to be talking at the counter like you do at the bank, but they have individual rooms. Of course, these are for privacy. So you might be giving out personal information, and you also may not want other people overhearing what you're saying, or you may not be comfortable like that. I think it's for privacy reasons. Thanks, see? Mion has the same thought. Most of the people who come here don't want other people listening to their conversation. I think abuse might be increasing because people gotta keep the issue quiet. It's a mixed bag. People tend not to talk about their family issues. What is room number 2? It's this one. As I knocked, I heard the voice of a man telling me to come in. Hello. It was a very small room. Well, I should say it was narrow. It wasn't wide, but it was long. There was a counter in the middle, which split the room in two. The man was sitting on the other side of the counter, and he told us to take a seat, but there were only 2 chairs. There's like 6 people. I sat down since we registered under my name. Mion wouldn't sit because she felt that the sisters shouldn't be in the front. Reina tried to offer the seat to Rika, but she refused, so Reina ended up taking it. It was such a tiny room, it was better for us to take a seat. It was very cramped with the 5 of us. Sorry, we usually expect to see the parents, so we only have 2 chairs. I understand that. So, how can I help you today? Should I do the talking? Well, we're students from Hinamizawa Branch School. We're Satoko Hojo's friends. The school reported she was being abused to this center, and I believe a social worker went to her house last night. We heard you put a hold on her case, and we're here to explain to you how urgent the matter is. Mion nodded. It seemed like I was doing okay so far. So, what are you trying to explain to us? Will you please tell me? Well, I know it's been 2 days since her uncle took it away, but it's only a matter of time before he starts hurting her. In fact, she suffered terrible abuse at the hands of her uncle last year. Well, we believe it's a matter of time before it happens again. Please, just say, how did it end last time? We'd like for you to save her from her uncle before it does, but from what we understand, the centers decided to wait and see, right? Are you going to neglect her? I can't believe you left her there just because she's not getting physically abused. Who's going to be responsible when she really gets hurt? Shion probably didn't like how politely I was speaking to him. She was already flaring with rage at the social worker. It looked like Mion didn't want her to tear into him. However, she let Shion finish, as she'd get even more furious if we tried to stop her. The man seemed to be used to people losing their temper, and he continued without reacting to Shion's outburst. I'd like to make it clear, we're still working on the case. The results are pending. We're not abandoning or neglecting her. Working on her case. They're not abandoning her. They're currently reviewing options, I suppose. While their mature phrasing made me start to think it might be rude and harsh to say they were abandoning her, Reina quietly opened her mouth. But you left her there without doing anything last night. No one could fool Reina. Taking their time to review options was the same thing as abandoning her. The fact is, they left her there without taking any action to prevent her from being abused. We sent a worker to her house, and they met with her guardian. We can't talk about the case further for privacy reasons, but we're not neglecting her. We're going to look after her and her father so they can have a healthy life together. He's not her father. He's her uncle. Are you sure you did an investigation? Excuse me, you're correct. They're uncle and niece. Anyway, we'll be directing them so guardian and child can form a healthy relationship. Shion pounced on his mistake immediately. I didn't think she needed to be so snappy, but at this point I was starting to understand how different their sense of urgency was from ours. They're like, well, a couple weeks is fine, or a couple months. In fact, they're probably thinking in terms of years. Seems fair. Governments are pretty slow to move. Excuse me, but Satoko was living a happy life before, without any support from her uncle. First of all, her uncle disappeared from her life for a full year prior, and he's returned and kidnapped her away. Isn't that a crime? Well, it wasn't a kidnapping, it's the law. They must live where their guardian appoints them to live. According to Article 821 of the Constitution, the legal guardian of a child is... He neglected Satoko for a year. How can he still be considered her guardian? Shion, that's what the court decided when her parents died of the curse. Are you serious? That guy's her legal guardian? Yes. I don't know the specific article of law it's written in, but minors must abide by their guardians. In other words, every child has a guardian. They have to have one. That's Article 818 of the Civil Code. When Satoko's parents died, her aunt and uncle automatically became her guardians. Yes, the closest relative gets custody. It seems her aunt and uncle were Satoko's only relatives. If Satoko and Satoshi refused them, they could have had a different guardian, though. But they were children of the Hojo family, the enemy in the dam conflict, and no one was going to take care of them. They were different from Rika-chama. Lots of people wanted to be her guardian, but Father Kimiyoshi got custody of her. I knew the Hojo family was in favor of the dam project, and the whole village hated her family, but I thought everything was over after they canceled it and Satoko's parents died. Nope. Was I aware of the difference? The difference between how the villagers treat her and how they treat Rika? The villagers don't abuse Satoko like her uncle, but maybe there's enough small thorns left in the village they were stinging Satoko occasionally. Can't say this too openly, but Satoko's family had more assets than her uncle's, and by becoming her guardians, they gained control over them. That's why they shamelessly took over Satoko's home. Do you know where they used to live? It was this ridiculously tiny place. Horrible, but guardian neglected her for over a year, right? Can he still claim custody? Can he? Well, in Part 4, Chapter 4, of the Civil Code, there are provisions for the loss of custody. The man opened a thick book on the counter and showed us the page. I didn't completely understand what it said, but it seemed that a parent can lose custody when they're being irresponsible. So the law can take away the right to become someone's guardian. Wait, it says something about court. Let me see. At the behest of the child's relatives or the public prosecutor, family court may make a ruling for the loss of parental authority. What the heck is this? Okay, so we have to sit around and wait for a family court ruling before we lose custody? That's too slow. Well, if something urgent happens, we can protect her under our custody. We'll also need approval of family court in that case. Here we go. Article 834, loss of parental authority. Doesn't this apply to Teppei Hojo? It is a fact that the guardian, Teppei Hojo, abandoned his responsibilities as a guardian for over a year. What's the center's opinion on that? I can't answer for privacy reasons, but the center requested an explanation on that as well. And you accepted it, so you decided to wait and see? Like I mentioned, we're currently working on this case. The safety of the child is our #1 priority, and we'll make sure she'll have a healthy lifestyle in a safe environment. It's some nice political speak for it. We're not doing anything. We were not on the same page at all. They just weren't understanding the urgency. I've never met this Teppei guy. I only know about the situation based on what my friends told me about last year and what she had told me, but I understood very well. I understood something bad was going to happen if we didn't take action right now. She's being abused by her uncle and aunt last year. Are you sure that same uncle can take care of her? You still have the records from last year, right? I can't discuss her past record with you for privacy reasons, but we're taking everything into consideration. She didn't come to school yesterday, or today. He called the school and said she has a cold. Do you think it's a bit odd she hasn't come to school since he showed up? It's true, but she might be sick. I think we should keep our eyes on her and see what happens. Yeah, we just know she doesn't want to be with her uncle. Her uncle's forcing her to stay with him. Our workers spoke with the child and made their decision after doing so. So that's it? You're not taking this case seriously because she made a false report long ago? I can't talk about that for privacy reasons. We're taking everything into consideration. Satoko's telling you she's not being abused because she feels guilty about her brother, Satoshi. She might not have told you she's not being abused, but I don't believe that statement. Do you know people can lose the will to seek help when they have depression? Stop making excuses and help Satoko. I'm not going to forgive you people if something happens to her. You'll end up hurt if you don't do something about this. Well, I'm asking politely. Stop it, Shion. You're making us look bad. I don't care what her uncle said to the social worker, but he's a violent guy. Please don't be fooled by him. I just wanted to make that clear. Please speak with your social worker and persuade them to make the call to save Satoko. We ask you to do this for us. Some of us were getting emotional, but Mion calmed them down and Reina summed it up nicely. I stopped speaking to see what she was going to say next. You mean her caseworker? I understand your concerns. I'll tell them Satoko's friends, 3, 4, 5 of her friends came here to make an appeal for us. We'll continue to work closely on this case, so please let us know if you have further information. Thanks for supporting the center, and thanks for sharing your valuable time with us. Well, that was something to do all day. We were still in Okonomiya. We were in the city park devoid of playing children, staring vacantly at the madder sky in silence. I feel like they didn't listen to our story. They also didn't kick us out. He's probably just a person who deals with complaints, not the actual social worker that deals with Satoko-chan. That's why he was phrasing everything the way he did. What did you think about the whole thing, Mion? Well, it felt like we were wrestling with a tree. We didn't get pushed or pulled. It's the same as talking to a wall. Yeah, that's true. That's not true. He said they'll forward our information to the social worker. Like I said, he doesn't know Satoko in person. He didn't really have any stake in it himself. Do you think we accomplished something today, Reina? I don't think it was a waste of time. I don't think our passion will be understood by the actual person who's working on the case. Let's just tell them Satoko's 5 friends came and requested for them to take her under custody. What about the social worker? Can we talk to that person directly? I don't know. I heard it's a very tough job. I think it'd be difficult for us to meet him or her in person. Someone even threatened to hurt them if they didn't do something, while she was still asking them politely. According to Mion, there's a lot of problematic clients who show up at the center. It's not a rare thing for them to get an aggressive visitor like Shion. It's so difficult to tell them how passionate we are. They might treat us coldly if they take our passion for simple anger. I thought you were used to talking with government officials, Mion. Can't you go talk to them instead of me? It's not that she's good at talking. They just listen to her because she's Mion Sonosaki. You saw how they treated us today? If she announced herself as a Sonosaki, it wouldn't have been such a small room. We would have been speaking to the manager in a reception room, right? Mion gave a vague smile and didn't comment. Mion's greatest weapon is her family name. Without that weapon, she is just as ordinary as the rest of us. I shouldn't be thinking about this, but if the Sonozaki family forgave Satoko's family, it would be really easy for them to save her. Actually, as I recall, that doesn't do anything because as I recall, they got sort of forgiven officially, and that didn't change shit. Everyone still treated them like shit because, turns out when you make literally every single person hate someone, saying stop harassing them once and then leaving it at that doesn't really change everyone's horrendous prejudice. So the Sonozaki family still hates the Hojin. No one's publicly stated we hate them, but it runs pretty deep. Hag of her grandmother's the one who hates the Hojin. Her opinion hasn't changed since we were in the middle of the damn conflict. It's been so many years, but she still can't let go of the past. Stop it, Shi-chan. Satoko's Satoko. She's our precious friend. Doesn't matter what her last name is. It's kind of funny because she said Satoko instead of, she said Satoko. She said Satoko. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Hojo. They don't call her Hojo. In fact, everyone's called by their first name in this. That's unusual. Everyone's called by their first name at all times in this. I just realized that. Mion's never called Sonozaki. Reina's never called, whatever her last name is. Ryugu, right? Reina's never called Ryugu-san. She's always called Reina. I just realized that. I was about to comment that it's funnier because, they use last names in Japanese, but everyone calls everyone by their first names in this visual novel, so it doesn't quite work that way. Reina was right, though. Just like how Satoko's last name doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what Mion's last name is either. Well, it does to some people. That's how she has all the influence. The important thing is that our friend's being abused right now. We'd have to do everything we can to save her from that situation. We all looked up at the sky as we listened to the sound of cars passing by. We felt hopeless. We had no idea what to do. Was what we did today going to help Satoko at all? It would have been better if they just kicked us out. And that way we could have been angry with them, but after being treated politely like that, we had no choice but to back off and see what they do. We were forced to just wait and see what happens. Everyone was trying to figure out what our next option was. I couldn't expect Chie to tell us everything was taken care of at the Board of Education. That would be too good to be true. Well, what do we do next? I muttered to myself, hoping someone would respond with a good idea, but the silence reminded me everyone was just as stuck as me. Keiichi? Rika? I'm sorry, I was running my mouth off, but I have no idea what to do now. I believed it. What? As I looked at her, I realized the expression on her face was stronger than ever. You told Shion yesterday you didn't have a good idea at the moment. But you said you'd figure something out. You told us her to trust you. So I trusted you. I'm not gonna believe you'd even mention you have no idea. I'm not gonna believe it. I could see tears in her eyes. Rika was sure I could do something about the situation. You said it. You said face as fresh as a thin paper. Piece of paper. I'm gonna believe your word. I still believe you. Because you can easily defeat fate, so please help us escape from this fate. Help Satoko. Help her. A tear rolled down to the corner of her eye. My heart was feeling the same way. Damn it. An innocent girl becoming a prisoner of a tragic fate. She desperately needed help. I told them they could trust me. In other words, they could count on me, but they could bet on me. And betting's not an easy thing. If I lost, they'd lose their coins too. But what does it mean to trust someone? It's about making a bet on that person. It's about betting a coin. It's about betting hope. Trusting is paramount, or tantamount to placing your hopes in them. I told Shion yesterday, and I told her to trust me. I didn't say it just because. I knew those words meant something serious, but after betraying Rika and seeing her tears, I finally realized how serious it is. I look at Shion. She's in a rage again. Mion tried to calm her, but she didn't have any ideas either. How about Reina? She's always reliable in a situation like this. I expected to see her strength. However, Reina also looked very depressed. We didn't know if what we did was a meaningful thing. Reina looked down with a devastated expression on her face, since she couldn't come up with another option either. Damn it, I gotta do something for them. Reina's blue fire is will melt iron, and Mion can be strong when the wind's in our favor. Shion's the same. They'll move forward when the wind's backing them, but they grow weak when the wind blows against them. Despite this whole situation, Rika still believes in us. Believes we can do something if we all come together. I mean, I'm just saying. Get recording equipment. Monitor the house 24/7. That might work. And just like get some nice recording equipment. Record the house 24/7. Call it a day. It's like, you know, you have like control of half the businesses in the city. Surely one of them sells radio equipment. That's right, we all agreed. We said to each other we could make a miracle happen if we worked together. And what am I? Well, if rain is blue fire, I'm the red fire. I burn brightly and give strength to everyone. I'm Keiichi Maibara, the magician of words. I gotta motivate everyone. The blue fire won't light up unless the red fire does, too. When the fire's lit, there will be wind. Mion and Shion will become stronger. Thanks. You just made me realize something, Rika. The flames inside me really are starting to blaze. Keiichi? We can't give up now. We're members of the strongest club ever, and nothing can stop us when we get together. I can't become depressed over a small thing like this. Rika woke me up. I just realized how serious it is to have people trust in me. Rika knew our personalities well, and she figured out just who she should motivate first. I'm really starting to burn up here. Mion, stop being depressed. This is where we're supposed to get angry, man. Everyone looked at me with wide eyes. They turned to my powerful voice. They were both surprised at my sudden shout, and waiting in anticipation at the vigor of my call. More and more clearly I could see it. This was Keiichi's role in this club. I don't think we did anything at the Child Consultation Center. Just like Reina was saying, they're going to forward a small note saying that we made a visit, but being treated like that lit the fires of our anger. You're right, it feels like they gave us the cold shoulder. Well, we're going to get them to realize how much danger Satoko's in. And we have no time to be sitting depressed in the park. But Keiichi, what are we supposed to do next? Well, don't tell me you think we have no more options left. If this was a club activity, you'd be losing right now. This is fun. I was feeling depressed too, but I got a burning passion in my heart. I felt like I was cheering myself up. Why was I being so sad? If I wanted to save Satoko, I had no time to rest. That was like the final seconds of the last round of the boxing match where we were at a disadvantage. If I stand here stupefied, I lose by indecision. So the only option is to press the attack. Do I give up because I couldn't knock out the opponent with one blow? No. If I couldn't take him out in one, I'll throw 2 or 3. I'll try until I can finally take him down. You're saying we're going to go there tomorrow? Close, but not exactly. I have no idea what's on your mind. But it sounds very interesting. Isn't it like our club to cry? It isn't like our club to cry ourselves to sleep. We need to turn in this headwind around. Mion's getting our willpower back too. That's right, I agree with Keiichi. I'm ashamed I was so depressed. That's fine. But what exactly are you trying to do? Well, remember everyone, that man really pissed us off today, but he also told us what our next option is. He never thought he was giving us a hint. He made a huge mistake. On top of that, the next option is something I'm good at. Which part? The legal part where you speak to people? Or the part where you gather evidence? Receptionist note and the bank book frustration. Alright, we got 2 new tips. I'm interested to see where Keiichi goes next. I mean, obviously, going to appeal to child services is not really going to solve anything. Date, year. Number, date, year. Okay. Subject about Hojo. Visitor Keiichi Maibara and 4 other friends. They're requesting protection for Satoko Hojo to save her from being abused by her uncle. Already being dealt with? I'm cleaning out the fridge. Please remove your personal belongings by this evening. Ah, yes. Just as important. The fridge. Well, that was a short note. And as everyone predicted, literally just a single page, single line comment. Teppei suspected Satoko was hiding more money somewhere. But in reality, she had none at all. Teppei already asked how she survived until now, but she told him she didn't have to use money because she was living with a friend. Teppei made some money off illegal gambling. Well, he had some of that money saved up. He had no intention to use it on living expenses, but there's no way Satoko didn't have the money. Teppei was convinced of that. His wife, Satoko's aunt, must have taken away the family bank book when Satoko's parents died in the accident. Her aunt also died last year, and Satoshi's gone too. That means Satoko should have hidden the notebook somewhere. However, no matter how much he threatened her, she told him she didn't know anything about it. He continued to question her, still believing that she was hiding it somewhere. He couldn't beat her because the teacher in Child Consultation Center would suspect him, so he wouldn't beat her. Instead, he spoke to her in a loud, violent voice, broke furniture in front of her. Threatening people like this is Teppei's forte. However, Satoko continued to claim she had no clue about the bank book, and she didn't seem to be lying. After destroying the whole living room, leaving Satoko frightened like a scared animal, he finally believed she had no idea where the book was. And in that case, where could it be? Teppei had two ideas. One, his wife hid it somewhere in secret. The other, Satoshi took it after his wife's death and hid it somewhere else. Either way, he was certain it was hidden somewhere in this house. He told Satoko to clean the mess he made in the living room and started searching around the house. Teppei was starting to get bored with Satoko. He heard that her parents had a lot of money saved up, but his wife had taken control of the money herself, and since his wife had been quite thrifty, he was sure she left the bank book somewhere without using it. Once he got his hands on the money, he could move elsewhere entirely. He was still acquainted with a few people from the gambling spot in Gogura. People he used to help out are still hanging around that area. They still owe him. They should at least let him crash there. It was great. Satoko takes care of the chores around the house, but he felt uncomfortable being watched by both the school and the center. Teppei, all too aware he's a man of violence, couldn't stand living with Satoko without being violent towards her. What a strange person. Literally can't live with someone without beating them up. The more he suffered, the stronger his urge to beat Satoko grew. Since Teppei only knew joy through forcing others who resisted to submit, testing to see how violent he could be before the helpless Satoko resisted him was something he was excited to try eventually. Still upset over the visitation by the teacher, he promised himself he'd destroy her life before leaving the village. Well, that's an interesting alternative perspective on the events of the chapter. And a strange reason to hate someone. Interesting, my friend. Very interesting, Teppei. Oh well. His girlfriend's just as wonderful as he is, so it doesn't really surprise me. Yeah, the ominous stares. You're like, oh yeah. Yeah, interesting. Into the next chapter. We're past the halfway point, so this is gonna be interesting, right? Surely. Sorry for interrupting your lunchtime. Can I have your attention, please? My classmates look at me with surprise. I stood at the front of the room and banged on the blackboard. I need to get their attention. You can listen while you eat. I want to talk to you about our classmate Satoko Hojo. Everyone went quiet when I brought up her name. They all knew how bad of a situation she was in, and remembering what happened to her last year, they understood how critical it was she get help as soon as possible. Everyone was thinking they wanted to save Satoko if they could, but they hadn't done anything because they didn't know what they could do. I don't think there's need for me to explain what's going on with her. As you know, she's been absent for 3 days now. It's been 3 days since she got kidnapped by her uncle. He called the school and told them she still has a cold, but I don't believe it. She hasn't even visited the clinic in the past 3 days. My classmates, think about this logically for a moment. If she's that sick, why is he not taking her to a clinic for 3 days? It's hard to believe she's been sick for that long. Yeah, she might have the flu, but if that's the case, she should be seeing a doctor. The whole class agreed it was a bit strange. Everyone had been thinking the same thing in their hearts. However, no one came forward and talked about it. This was a good start. Just think about it. Satoko is the healthiest girl in the village. She won't even get sick after eating food that's past the expiry date. But now, she somehow got sick all of a sudden and missed school for 3 days. Hard to believe, right? The answer is simple. Her uncle's forcing her to stay home. We've reported this case to Child Consultation Center. However, they're putting it on hold. We went there, but they told us we can't talk about it due to privacy reasons. What do you guys think about this? I think it's wrong. We all know how her aunt and uncle were treating her last year. Besides, Satoko was living happily with Rika. It's wrong for him to force her to move out of there. Keep her away from us. The sight of Reina letting her emotions speak for her when she was normally quiet demonstrated most of all how dire the situation was. Reina brought an intensity to this I couldn't, since I often yelled and shouted about things. Are we just gonna leave things as they are? Satoko's our friend. She's our classmate, but what's your plan? We spent time together in this classroom and we're like family to each other. We learned together, played together, ate together, and fought each other at times. We spent so much time together, our relationship is as tight as a family's. Should we neglect someone who's that precious to us? Raise your hand if you want her to neglect her. I'm sure none of you want to do that, right? No way. We're gonna help Satoko. Okay, the classmates muttering. The people are talking amongst themselves. The classmates filled with a commotion, which is exactly what I was looking for. The louder I talk, the louder my classmates get. They're getting all fired up. The more I let my true colors show, the greater everyone's emotions become as well. Our club's making its move. We're gonna figure out how we can save her. Do you know that Tomino-kun? No. I did not. Let me tell you what our plan is. Don't worry, it's not something illegal. We're trying to fight, but without breaking the rules. In truth, nothing's more effective in society than taking an orthodox stand. Playing underhanded and striking by surprise may seem more effective, but it's as insignificant as a jack in the box. I don't know, it's pretty effective considering the grip the Sonozakis have on the town. And the mafia, the Yakuza, you know. They do a pretty good job of that. A real orthodox attack can punch through anything. I've heard that even in karate, a straightforward punch can deliver the greatest impact. When you think about it, the physics of it, it's only a natural, a straightforward head-on strike would hold the most power. You're already doing the right thing by saving her, therefore there's no need for us to do anything underhanded to accomplish that. You need to fight openly. So, who are we fighting against? That's a good question, Okamura-kun. This is a fight, true. However, we're not going to be violent with anyone. We're following the rules, and this is the honest way to conduct a battle. Before we go further, let me get back to just how we're going to save her. This is the current situation. Satoko is here. Her uncle is locking her up inside the house. Apparently, she had no obvious injuries as of yesterday. We don't know for sure if she hasn't gotten hurt since then. Hey, what's up? Besides preventing her from going to school, it's already childhood abuse, but check this out. This is a brochure Mion brought from the Child Consultation Center. It's written clearly here. Keeping a child from school is abuse. On top of that, her uncle left Satoko on her own for a year. That's considered neglect. Neglect also counts as abuse. However, the centers didn't even take that into consideration. They ignored the fact he neglected her for a year and believe she hasn't come to school because she's sick. They concluded she's not being abused because there's no obvious injuries. What do y'all think? My bar-san, this is blatant case of child abuse. Just because she doesn't have injuries doesn't prove she's not getting abused. I agree with him. How come they can't see it? It's obvious. From Mion's hurt inside the office, 2 or 3 days isn't enough to determine if abuse is taking place or not. Apparently, they can only recognize it after it's continued for months or years. She says they have to evaluate the situation very carefully. What do you all think about that? You think keeping Satoko in the house for several months is a good idea? No way. No. Yeah, no way. The child center has no idea how much danger she's facing right now. They don't know how terrible it was for her last year, and that's why they're just putting her case on hold. What would you do, Tomita? Sir, I think the issue here is the Child Consultation Center isn't grasping the urgency. I think someone needs to go there and explain how serious it is. Right. It might be a routine for them to wait and see what happens. But in Satoko's case, that's not applicable. Her uncle was abusing her last year, too. My big favorite big titty tyrant. Her uncle was abusing her last year. He was taking his stress out on her. After the death of his aunt, he left Satoko alone and disappeared for an entire year. You know what? We even have information he disappeared because he tried to move in with his lover in Okinomiya. What was Satoko doing while he left her? She was fortunate because Rika offered her a place to stay. What if Rika wasn't there for her? She'd have no choice but to try and survive on her own. Furthermore, we know that he came back to Hinamizawa because his lover disappeared somewhere. In other words, she dumped him. He had no choice but to come back and force Satoko to live with him again. Her neighbors have seen her doing the laundry. The reason he took Satoko with him is clear. He took her so she could work as his slave. How could anyone do something like that? Well, is there anyone in the classroom who would call such a rotten person a parent after he spent a full year playing with his mistress to come waltzing back and throwing his weight around? No. No way. Right, he's not her guardian, but the Child Consultation Center still calls him that. They claim he'd have to go through family court in order to take away his parental rights. Who has the right to decide whether he's good enough to be Satoko's guardian? It shouldn't be the court. It should be decided based on common sense. I can see this clearly. He's not Satoko's guardian, and we need to make that clear to them. Child Consultation Center is the only organization that can help Satoko before she's physically abused. The police won't move until it develops into a criminal case. You think we're gonna wait until Satoko becomes a victim? You can't just sit around until that happens. That's why we're gonna make our move now. We hit the Okinomiya Child Consultation Center yesterday, and this is what they wrote in after we did it. 5 classmates made a visitation to request protection. You know what that means? 5 isn't enough. We need your help. We need all of you. This is your chance to do something meaningful in your life. If you don't help us, you're not our friends. All you have to do is support me. I'll do all the talking, and our club members are going to do all the fighting. We just want you guys to support us. If that's not enough, feel free to join the fight. Let them know the spirit of Hinamizawa Branch School. My bro, what's going on? Chie-sensei looked into the classroom, the commotion having attracted her attention. As soon as she tried to step inside the class, someone behind her stopped her. Principal. Miss Chie, I would like to have some tea. Would you make me a cup, please? It was a clear display of his intent not to disrupt the speech. Are you sure? There's a lot of young children in the class. If they all go to Child Consultation Center, how can we explain it to their parents? Chie? Rude, what's going on here? Everyone's trying so hard for Satoko's sake. I can't do anything. I need their help. But I can at least try to stop you from stopping them. She had never seen Rika staring at her with an expression like that. She was surprised to see Rika looking so determined. Why would you want to stop them? Principal, it's splendid, isn't it? They should do what they can. I'll take responsibility for whatever happens. Chie looking fine as fuck. Yes. The second best curry-loving girl. Because she's based on the number 1. Alright, the principal's pounded his own chest, and Chie couldn't object any longer. Hot milk's in my area? Heck yeah! I understand. Please make sure no one gets hurt. You must all follow the rules and mind your manners. You gotta promise me that. Thank you very much. I'm proud of you, Miss Chie. My students are teaching me many lessons. Yes, I've made my decision. My students are like my own children, and what mother wouldn't protect her children? Alright, head back out as soon as you get home today and meet us at the Okonomiya Library. Child's Consultation Center is on the 1st floor. Wait. Chie-sensei. Sensei, are you gonna stop us? Certainly not. I truly understand your passion. I'm gonna support you as long as you follow the rules. Yeah, I'm coming with you to make sure you behave yourselves. Is that okay? Yeah. Alright. Here we go. We're all getting fired up. Okay. We headed for the library as soon as we got back home from school. I'd expected a few kids wouldn't show up, but surprisingly, everyone came along. I could tell just how driven they were. It was also encouraging to have Chie-sensei there with us. I had to admit, I'd been feeling a bit guilty for dragging everyone to the center. But as long as Chie-sensei was with us, I didn't need to feel that guilt, right? Maibara, please come to the counter. Hello, I'm Maibara. How can we help you today? As I wrote on the registration form, we came to tell you about the dangers Satoko Hojo was in. How many of you are here today? And how are you all related to her? Oh, we're Satoko's classmates and her teacher. There's 27 of us. Well, our room is not very large. Can we ask a few people to come inside as representatives? Shouldn't you prepare a bigger room, like a meeting room? I believe there should be an arranging room for us. You should be arranging the room for us, not asking us to adjust yours. Give us a moment. The receptionist seemed troubled. She told us to head back to our seats and started to make a phone call to someone. Good job, Reina. I consider myself a pro, and even I thought that threat was perfectly timed. Are you trying to compliment me? Reina's good at reading other people's minds, and sometimes she can use that talent against the enemy to intimidate them. A strange atmosphere permeated the office. It must have been the first time a whole class visited on behalf of one person. It was as though we were here for a school trip. The best school trip. The teacher's even here, right? It is a school trip. Well, hello, I'm Hariyama, manager of this center. Please take a seat. I'm sorry for bringing the class to your office. I'm Chie from the Hinamizawa branch school. We're here to talk with you today. They were treating us differently now that we had 5 times as many people plus one adult. Instead of that small room, they took us to a big meeting hall. On top of that, the manager was there alongside the man from yesterday. I'll let Maibara do the talk. Chie sat down at the far end of the table. She was just here to look after us. Besides, like I said, we were the ones who were going to fight. It was fine if Chie just stayed here and watched quietly. I'm Keiichi Maibara. Nice to meet you. I've heard yesterday you visited us with 5 friends to present your thoughts to us on the case. Are you here on a different matter today? I hadn't expected they'd start the conversation. What are they thinking? Well, I don't like how ambiguous this feels. It feels like they're debating how to move, unsure if the fault lies with us or not. Kei-chan, you should clearly tell them why we came here and let them know they're in the wrong. My friends were analyzing the situation behind me. It felt like I was having a meeting with the president of a foreign country. Actually, that wasn't too far from the truth. I was sort of the prime minister. I was representing the whole class. I needed to be polite but stern. Alright, let's attack from this angle then. Kei-chan, tell them something like this. Okay, Mion's got a plan. Mion's got a plan. I mean, I have a hope for what she says, but we'll see. Just gonna pour myself a little bit more water from my bottle to my glass. Going through water quickly. There'll be a click in a second. Probably. You might be able to hear that. Alright, tell him something like this. Got it? Mion gave me her attack plan. It really is how Mion operates best. If she's weak on defense, then I can bear the brunt with impudence, while Mion issues perfect orders from behind. I took my friend's analyses and advice in consideration and calmly opened my mouth. No, first let me confirm something with you. We came here today to make sure what we came to convey yesterday was properly conveyed to you, so I apologize if this seems rude. Please tell us how much you grasped from the conversation yesterday. It's alright if it means just reading a memo aloud. They became quiet for a second. It might have only been a short time, but the silence felt much longer than that. I could see the manager's expression turning serious. He thought he was dealing with a social studies class, but suddenly his response changed to that of one dealing with a protest group of local citizens. From my understanding, we acknowledged you came to appeal that Satoko's in an extreme situation meriting temporary protection for our agency, and we should expedite our response. I believe that our staff at the time said we're not taking our situation lightly and we're discussing appropriate measures. The cute emote. Alright, so taking into consideration the fact that Satoko Hojo was suffering abuse from her uncle at this time last year, you still believe an urgent response is unnecessary? Well, we have no confirmed records Hojo was administering abuse at this time last year. What? The hell were you guys doing last year? She's being abused by both her aunt and uncle? Please don't tell us. You're only aware of the abuse from her aunt? Normally, we don't talk about private affairs, but under these special circumstances, it's acceptable to say we're aware there was trouble between Satoko and her aunt. We have no records showing her uncle was also involved. In fact, when we interviewed her neighbors, several mentioned Tamaya's slight hysteric tendencies, but none brought up the name of her uncle Tepe-san. We believe this because the abuse didn't stand under the shadow of the aunt's especially vicious nature. We don't believe it constitutes evidence that her uncle was not abusing her as well. I see. So you claim there's a likelihood Tepe is also inflicting abuse on the child at this time last year. The manager and staff behind him jotted that down with a pen as if to show that this was their first time hearing the information. This is why we came here today. We believe the Child Consultation Center doesn't have a proper understanding of their present situation. We believe you should be able to see how urgent this case is once you fully understand it. We're taking that into consideration. Please allow us to do a more thorough investigation into Tepe. We mentioned this yesterday as well, but her uncle abandoned his responsibility as guardian for over a year. We received no response on this information, but what's your opinion on this matter? Our office is aware that Tepe was absent from his residence, and we interviewed him on that matter. So, what was his excuse? I mean, you can't talk about it for privacy reasons, but if he convinced all of you, it must have justified leaving her alone for a whole year, right? Do you believe living with his mistress in Okonomiya is sufficient reason for abandoning his responsibilities for a whole year? We'd like to receive that in writing. And some monetary compensation would be great too, because we literally had to pay for that. No, is that what happened? He explained to us he was forced to work away from home to raise Satoko. This is our first time hearing that. I believe that shit? Well, if that's your first time hearing, you should also know Satoko's been absent from school 3 days in a row now. Well, he contacted the school yesterday. She has a cold. The only hospital in the village, the Erie Clinic, has no records of her being examined. I believe the proper response is for a guardian who refuses to take her child to the hospital when she's bedridden 3 days in a row with illness. Well, we confirmed she was absent 1 day, but 3? Well, that's news. Our social worker met directly with Satoko and confirmed the child denies the occurrence. We asked if she wished to continue living with Tepe. She answered in affirmative. There's no abuse as long as she says so. That's one of the more difficult aspects. Whether the child herself feels she's suffering abuse or not is a very important factor. It's much like the definition of bullying. While the bully may not believe they're bullying, it's bullying if the recipient believes it is. So you can't do anything until she admits she's abused and seeks help herself? No, that's not quite how it works. How long is the story? The story is quite long. Quite long, with many arcs. We're in the 7th arc. And it's quite interesting. It's we're seeing lots of new scenes and new takes on things. We even have a new character, but unfortunately, we only get to see this character when we see things from Rika's perspective, and I think we're looking at things from Keiichi's perspective right now. So unfortunately, there's no Hanyu around. No, Hanyu is super cute. Our organization investigates the child's environment, and if we find problems that might harm their lifestyle, we take appropriate action to protect them. However, we don't believe Satoko's case has reached the level of danger at present. No urgency? Well, that's how they felt about Satoko's case. Our classmates who'd been watching the discussion burst into an uproar. How could you say something like that? What makes you believe she's not in danger? At first, Satoko denies the abuse, and not only that, she had no visible injuries. She's also being provided with food, shelter, and clothes. I can't say that Tepe is not taking responsibility as their guardian. Both of them seem to have no complaints about their current living arrangements. We believe we do need to further discuss his past, but unfortunately we believe you and your friends are overreacting to the situation. Overreacting? Calm down, Keiichi. Let's not take it too personally. Damn it, why are they treating us like this? I think we're only acting this way based on what happened last year. I see. Well, the center was assuming this year's cases and last year's were two separate issues, and on top of that, Satoko was denying the abuse. Teppei regrets the fact he had to leave Satoko because of having to work for her sake. He promised he'd stay with her from now and raise her lovingly. I heard a loud noise. Someone pounded the table, and everyone, including the manager, was startled. I figured it must have been Shion, but it was Reina. Oh, her face turned as furious as a demon's. It's best for a child to live with their parents. There are things you can only learn from the love of your family. We've heard that Satoko was living with another minor for the past year, and not living under any adult. This could greatly harm her future as she's a sensitive, growing child. I'm sure in your friendship with her, you all believe she may be happy as that way. Please give Satoko and Teppei the opportunity to restart their new life as uncle and niece, and watch over them kindly. Weren't you listening to any of the things we just said? You're saying you're not going to help her unless she asks for help? Well, how's she supposed to seek help if she's locked inside her house? She can't even go outside or make a phone call. How's she supposed to seek help? We came here in her stead because she can't be here herself, but you're not even willing to listen to us. That's not what we're trying to say. Yeah, there are 8 arcs. 8 long arcs. I think it was about, what, a couple weeks to get through each, at the rate we go. Every other day-ish. Every other day-ish. For a few hours. It's pretty good. Pretty enjoyable. Then we're trying to say, well, remember that over 20 of our classmates visited to talk about Satoko's case. We'll take what happened yesterday into consideration when we make further decisions about the case. And when are you going to make the decision? Can you guarantee us she won't be hurt before the decision's made? If something happens to her, will you take responsibility? If she gets even a single bruise, you're in huge trouble. Shion, that's enough. Please, tell me when you'll make that decision. That's right. How long is it going to take you? Like I said, we need to take it seriously and make a careful decision. In order to do so, we'll continue to meet with the two of them and investigate so her and her uncle can have a better relationship. Please wait and see what happens for a while. We ask you do so for her sake. That's your response. You're saying it's not urgent, even though we came here to tell you it is. I was starting to get lost in what they were trying to say, but Reina's words made me realize everything. We came to tell them they need to protect her right away, but they clearly told us they don't see a reason to do so. We understand there may be a reason for urgency, and we'll take your opinion into consideration when we make our decision. I hope it'll satisfy you. At first glance, it sounded like they were speaking humbly, but our insistence of the urgency to Satoko's situation was spinning their wheels. They had no intention of meeting us halfway. Right, they're officials. They're government officials. Come on. The government doesn't move fast unless you really, really push them. Plus, they have authority that can change the life of an individual. Like Satoko, considering that being overcautious and deliberating isn't the wrong response for them, and I would have understood if it wasn't personal, but in reality, Satoko had no time to share. Like I said, it's a fucking government, man. You're trying to make the wheels of bureaucracy turn in a day. That is actually a miracle. We could see that because we understood everything. We knew how Satoko would reject me after I rubbed her head because of the abuse she got from her uncle. The nightmare will come true in just a few days, and in that nightmare, I knew I should save her, but I wasted my time. I wasn't going to make that same mistake. I had to make a move immediately. My Baraku. Did you say everything you wanted to? Yes. That's it for today. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Everyone please bow. Class President, will you take the lead? Thank you very much. No, thank you for your valuable opinions. Thank you, everyone. Be careful on your way home. We all came back to Hinamizawa together, and it was fun time for us to depart. As the class president, Mion gave everyone the notice. We were dismissed. However, everyone stuck around to talk about what happened today. We went back to Hinamizawa on our bikes, so we didn't really get to talk with each other. Now that we'd gotten off them, we finally got to say what we wanted. This is the first time everyone in the class got together and fought for someone like this. It reminds me of the damn conflict. Everyone's feelings are united. It's true. None of these kids participated in the conflict, even though they might remember it from when they were a baby. But what we did today was more polite than what we did in the damn conflict. No one's bleeding, and there's no bombs or riot police. Things are so much better. Nobody's bleeding. We didn't have to call in bomb threats or get the riot police called in for a month. It's the best thing about it, Hinamizawa. That's true. This old man's blood's boiling for the first time in a while. The people in Hinamizawa got together to fight against the dam project. And everyone working together as a team means a lot to the villagers here. If there's there's one person coming, 2 should throw rocks at him. If there's 2, 4 should do so. If there's 4, well, 8. If there's 1,000, the whole village should stand up and fight. Alright. What's that? A figure of speech? It's something our grandma used to say. She's trying to tell the villagers to band together and fight. When there's one enemy, 2 should fight together. When there's 1,000, the whole village should fight. I see. She wanted the villagers to unite and defeat their enemy. It means more than that. Uniting to fight together is one thing, but it also means the village should unite and fight for the sake of an individual. She is just Shield undercover investigating paranormal activity in the village. I know that. She's working for the church. The only thing she's hiding is her affiliation, possibly because there's a strong... She's hiding her church affiliation, in this case, because there's a strong religious foundation to this village, and it'd look really bad if she worshipped or believed in anything other than Oyashiro-sama. The real meaning is everyone should share the individual's pain and sympathize with them, and fight for them too. Wow, that sounds very similar to what's happening right now. In other words, the battle we're fighting now represents Hinamizawa as a whole. I see. Everyone supported me, not because they were impressed by my speech, but because it's their nature to unite like that. I see. Case files of Tsukihime verse. Interesting. The classmates were all sticking around and discussing issues surrounding Satoko. For some, it was like a return of the dam conflict, and also a big chance for those who never experienced it. It almost felt like a festival. Most of them thought we didn't make much progress, though. Maibara. So their conclusion is they're not going to save her, right? Their answer wasn't that bad, but you're right in the sense they'll watch her suffer. I live close to him. I know what kind of guy that uncle is. He's not normal. We figured out the people at the Child Center don't understand anything, but we can't give up after today either. Tomita and Okamura seemed serious. They weren't just supporting me. They wanted to make a move themselves. We're gonna have to work together to save her. Yeah, okay, I agree. It's hard to believe these are the same kids who are always running around the school. I'm really happy to see them so motivated. Of course we are. Satoko's our friend, and we're gonna save her. So please, lend us your support once more. No, Maibara, this is our responsibility as our classmates. We're not going fighting because you're asking us to. We're doing this because we want to. Oh, that's nice. I'm impressed to hear that from you, Tomita. Shall we go there again tomorrow? I don't think we should take any days off. Consistency is important. I agree with Reina-san. It's only going to end with the same result if we go there with the same people again. I think today was more effective because there were more people. Then shall we go there with more people tomorrow? Shall we? Shall we? Reina turned back towards everyone as she spoke. Well, we know what she's trying to say, right? Everyone ask your parents to take you there. And then have your parents also show up. Not all children from Hinamizawa go to Hinamizawa Branch School. Around half of them go to school in Okinomiya. Those children aren't our classmates, but they're still our friends from the neighborhood. Hinamizawa is a small village after all. They know Satoko as well as we do, and they know what's going on with her right now. Rumors spread at the speed of light in Hinamizawa. I can tell by now everyone in the village knows about my embarrassing history of undergoing punishments. I'll talk to Daisuke. When I go home, I bet he'd come with us. I'll call my friends when I get home too. The school in Okinomiya is not that far from the library. That's a good idea. Let's do it. It's turning out well. I think we can at least get 10 more people on our side. I'll try reaching out to a few of the old members of the kids club too. I think I can get at least 3 of them to come with us. I'll ask my friends from cram school too. But none of them even know about Satoko or situation. They're just friends of mine, so it'll only be about 4 people. You think it might be difficult to get other adults involved? Well, the people in the town council don't want to have anything to do with the Hojo family because of what happened during the dam conflict. How about older people? Can't you get old people on our side, Rika? Older people are bitter towards Satoko. People who believe in the curse of Oyashiro-sama really think the Hojo family deserves what they get. So we can only get more children, but no adults. How many of us will there be? At this rate, there's going to be about 17 more children. I don't know if they'll make it, but hopefully there'll be more than 40 of us. 40 people? I'm impressed, Keiichi. You think 40 is enough, Rika? What? I grinned and tapped Rika's chest. It's not enough. 40 is not enough to knock out those stubborn people. We need at least 20 more. I'm sure 60 would intimidate them. Where can we get that much help? You have no idea. My name is Keiichi Maibara. If I say I'm going to accomplish something, I will. Alright, we need 20 people. Our character doesn't even know the names of 20 people in school in his town. He's gonna get 20 people though. That's the whole story, Kamada. We're gonna launch our third attack tomorrow evening. Will you help us out? He's getting the baseball team. I don't want to reject your request, Kei. We ate that jumbo parfait together. That was our vow as sworn brothers. I'll help you, Kei. But tomorrow's not a good day. What? Why is that coming? You can't lend a hand to this poor innocent girl. Where's your pride as a two-dimensional warrior? You deserve a beating. Clench those teeth. Wait a minute, Keisei, please listen to me. I'd help her if it wasn't tomorrow. Of course I love. Did he say he loves flat-chested Lolita schoolmates and would happy to lick Satoko's socks? Wait, okay. Let's see. Is it, wait, no, is it elementary? Let me count. E-L-E-M-E-N-T-A-R-Y. Oh my god, it is elementary. It is, is it second? It could be secondary. Let's see. No, S-E-C-O-N-D-A-R. Ooh, okay. I can see why there's stars there. That's what they translated it for the English translation. Because secondary is one less star. Could it be high school? H-I-G-H-S-C-H-O-O. Let's go with high school. Let's say high school. We'll say high school. I don't think Satoko's in high school though. Yeah, Kamida's a D-Gen? You guys, wait, did you guys forget that Kamida-kun's a fucking D-Gen? This guy literally said he'd be happy to lick her socks. But I can't tomorrow. You bastard. Tell me, Kamida. I'll knock at least 3 of your teeth out if you can't make it because your parents' funeral. I can't come. Tomorrow's the dessert fiesta here at Angel Morn. What did you say? It's the dessert fiesta, Keisan. It's the dessert fiesta of Angel Morn. He gets bonus points for using the hiragana for fiesta. I actually want an admission ticket. I'm not going to invite anyone but you. Let's go big and pick out all these sweet girls. I mean, or cakes, yeah, cakes. Or that was which is gonna mean is he's getting a beating. Please, Keisan, I'll help you the day after tomorrow. Please let me go to the fiesta tomorrow. I'm begging you. Keiichi, I think you should let him go tomorrow. Go for tomorrow. I can't let him go. Kamina, you dare to weigh cakes against a real girl? You only gain the right to eat cake when you can save her. For starters, you don't have an understanding of how good Satoko is. Listen, Satoko's charm is that which seems soon at first glance, but as you set off her flanks, she grows dare. She's a classic tsundere. You should understand that the greatest appeal of a tsundere lies in the gap between her tsun and dere. Normally, she's all tsun, without an ounce of eroticism, but once you flip her switch, she's suddenly dare. The gap between her on-off states is her charm. She's just like the first and last half of Higurashi's plot itself. She's like the first and last half of Higurashi's plot itself. In other words, Satoko is the true Miss Higurashi. Spoken by the author himself. We know who the author's favorite is. On top of that, she has the added spice of the little sister element that's growing standard now, as well as being a Souke. She's the new generation of heroine, a perfect level of rebellious spirit, making her grand descent into this world overflowing with romantically dependent heroines. You want to know how amazing her advent is? She's incredible as a blonde princess alighting in an open field. But she's not a goddess, so don't go spouting uploader. Pass, please. If you can't understand her appeal, then what are you? Where's your pride as a 2D warrior? What, would you dare say you're moving on to fake 3D now, with the increases in polygon count? Ugh, fake 3D. You're a century early. Our progenitors from the age wherein heroines were displayed in 256-bit with 8 colors, they found love and moe there, evolving their emotions to an even higher dimension. None of that was to escape into the 2D world. It was evolution of love derived from their love of real women. The statue of Venus and the Mona Lisa are the epitome of our progenitors' feelings of moe. By the way, I think the girl with the fewest pixels was Kei from Drage? Young people nowadays probably can't even tell she's a girl. I don't know what game that is. Oh, by the way, the princess of Dragon Buster was also amazing. She was wearing a short skirt. That's Dragon Buster, right? There's no way that's not Dragon Buster. What's that? Key from Draga? I think it's Key from Draga, right? She was wearing a short skirt and a crown. She had a scepter. She even changed into a swimsuit and a bunny girl outfit. Am I the only one who thinks she's the oldest cosplaying heroine in the history of Japanese arcade games? I haven't played Dragon Buster, to be honest. It's amazing I was able to play those games for only 50 yen. Remember, we found feelings of moe in the beautiful girls that lay beyond that 16 by 16 pixel art. We 2D warriors search for the truth behind the walls of pixels and polygons, seeking their true form. How could you say you'd choose pixels and polygons over a real live little girl that exists without those walls between you? That proves you've lost sight of your goal and settled for half measures. 2D warriors don't deny the 3D. They're the new generation of 3D warriors who love 3D more, trying to express that in detail through 2D symbols. Though calling it 2D is bad when it's elevated above 3D, you may get confused because 2 sounds inferior. That's why Microsoft named their console the Xbox 360, because Xbox 2 would sound inferior to PlayStation 3. You know what's funny? This is set in the 80s. How did we get this? How did we get this line? The setting is the 80s, but we got them saying Microsoft named their console the Xbox 360 because Xbox 2 would sound worse than PS3. We did this game, the writing dated itself, but it's very interesting they even did that. An Xbox 360 and PlayStation reference when the game's set in the 80s. Anyway, all I want to say is this. Which console's gonna get Resident Evil and Metal Gear? Well, I mean, PlayStation is probably getting Metal Gear. Metal Gear also wasn't invented in the 80s. Oh, by the way, the new Dead or Alive is coming out too, right? Is it true that Zack is made out of the same number of polygons as the female character's breasts? Anyway, forget about that. Buckle down to save the real girl, Kamina! Her brain's like sludge right now, you don't know what's going on. I'm sorry, I was wrong. What was I thinking? What have I done? It's okay, Kamina. Mistakes are there so you can realize you made them. You realized your mistake and became a better man. Take my hand! The door to the next millennium lies in front of you. Keiichi and Kamina seem to be having fun. I have no idea what they're talking about. Don't bother, don't bother. I got it, Kei. On my honor as a man, I'll help you save that girl. They have dessert fiestas 4 times a year, so what if I miss one of them? It's not a big deal. Seems so down to me. By the way, Mion, you said you were going to give me 3 years worth of dessert fiesta admissions as a reward for the auction, right? I'll give you 1 year of admission if you help me, Kamina. No thank you, Kei. I'm a man. I'll be ashamed of myself if I'm saving this girl because I'm getting a reward. Shit, do you think we can do something for him? Do you? How about this? I'll remove his name from the blacklist. The blacklist? What's that? Oh, normal customers don't know, but there's customers that cause trouble in the restaurant sometimes. Whenever they do something wrong, their name gets written on the list. And once their name gets written down there, enough times, they're never allowed to enter the restaurant. Stop. I'm an Angel Mort Master. I'd never behave so unmannered as to get myself on such a blacklist. Oh, you touched the waitress inappropriately twice, called the waitress just to talk with her, and sold tickets outside the restaurant. You'll be forbidden from entering after one more transgression. She just eviscerates his confidence in like 1 second. She's like, oh, you didn't do anything. Well, yeah, you don't say. How about these 3 times? How about these times? Ooh. I can't believe it. That's horrible. If I can't come to Angel Mort, I'll have no reason to live. However, I'm impressed you're so willing to save Satoko. I'll erase your name from this list as a reward. Thank you so much. Hey, Michan, does that blacklist really exist? This old man has no idea. Kamina, thank you. Let me know if you can't get a ticket for the next dessert fiesta. I'll invite you. Okay. Hug? We reaffirmed our strong friendship. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll bring my baseball team members with me. I should be able to get at least 10 people. Well, it sounds like her uncle is a really crazy guy. Wouldn't it be faster to just kick his ass rather than going to the child consultation center? No, we can't do that. Otherwise, he'd take revenge on Satoko. I see. Well, of course we can't commit murder either. Alright. Let's do it the right way. We don't want to get arrested by the police. 10 people still isn't enough. You think you can get more people from somewhere? More people, huh? Let me take care of it. Kameda grinned at me and suddenly stood up and shouted, "Hey you guys, you heard everything, didn't you? Those of you who have a ticket tomorrow, I'm not forcing you. But if you're free, give us a hand." Everyone in the restaurant looked at him. There are a lot of people around. The dessert fiesta is tomorrow, so shouldn't today be just a normal day? You're not wrong, but the people who missed it on the tickets for the dessert fiesta are here today. All those guys are regulars. I don't know their names, but we see each other all the time in this restaurant. What do you think about his story, guys? The longer I listen, the more upset I get. Isn't that right, comrades? All the neats are gonna show up, locking up a real girl up. I want to do that. I mean, I can't allow locking a real girl up. That's what I want to do. I can't allow that to continue. I'll punish anyone who can't be nice to a girl. You can do it in his imagination, but it's unacceptable in the real world. Tell us to come with you, Kei. We admire your hunger. The Okonomiya Squadron is prepared to enact a rescue operation. Give us the order to attack. It's Operation Satoko. Your mission starts tomorrow evening. Make sure your clock's on time and your will is written. This may be the day you die. Alright. Looks like we got everyone at the restaurant. Sorry, you guys. Thanks for your help. You don't even know her. We can't abandon her because of a tiny thing like that. Besides, we know very much about Princess Satoko. My fellows and I enjoy indulging in the warm sentiments that fill our hearts when the young lady fails to notice a bit of cream stuck to her chin. Therefore, this is a personal matter for us as well. Alright, you guys. They're like, oh, we know all about her. What are you talking about? I'm gonna rely on you. You need to back me up, alright? Ready to fight tomorrow evening? Okay, Kei! Alright. Keiichi's such a popular guy. He's popular with the town council too. He seems to be the most popular and the most unexpected of places. Lots of other people seem to respect him too. Some of the waitresses here are also concerned about Satoko. They said they want to come and support us when they're on. Wow, I guess we have about 60 people now. We might get even more than that. So is this the power to defeat fate? Well, I guess we'll find out. Ready for the next round? Ready for round 2? How many people are we getting for round 3? How many people are we getting for round 3? I know, on an unrelated note, if your kid's like, yeah, I went to the library without telling. If you're like, 6-year-old kid tells you that you went to the library, that's why they're late home from school. You think their parents might come? That night, I attended a meeting for Watanagashi Festival Committee. Everyone assembled at the room in the Furude Shrine. I'd seen the building a few times, but I hadn't actually been inside before. There were pictures depicting the history of the dam conflict on the wall, and according to Mion, the assembly building had been used as the headquarters of the dam protest back in the day. There was a huge flag that said Onigafuchi Guardians hanging on the wall. People had written messages on it. I'd been called to the meeting so I could introduce myself. Well, I'd been chosen to be host of the auction several days. This is my first time attending a meeting. There were about 30 members in the room, and my dad and I were introduced to them. Since I'm still a minor, I had to bring him with me. I'd often heard the term parental rights recently because of Satoko's situation, and because of that, I've been thinking about the relationship between me and my dad. My Bara family is a happy one, I think. It seems alright. I'm blessed to have parents like them. Hello, I'm Keiichi Maibara. This is my first time doing something like this, and I'm somewhat nervous, but I'll do my best. Here, you do your best, young man. Their friendly smiles and applause made me realize again how welcoming people are in this village. I felt pressured as I thought about how big a responsibility I was going to undertake at the festival. Since I looked so nervous, the leaders of the committee all came up to me and said I should just act natural and do my thing. Thanks for offering my son such an important position. I'm sorry I'm unable to participate in the activities due to my job, but I'll do what I can to support my son. We got some claps. It's committee, of course. My dad must be used to making speeches. Alright, we'll break into groups and start the meeting. It's going to last until about 8:50 p.m. Please begin your discussions as soon as you can. The festival committee can be broken up in different teams, like a general affairs team, a construction team, a refreshment booth team, and a ceremony team. Each team has separate meetings. My dad and I were told to join the event team, but after all, we joined toward the end without knowing anything, and the festival was next Sunday too. I didn't understand anything they were saying, and I couldn't even express my opinions anyway. To be fair, what is your opinion going to be unless it's directly about the auctioning process? Nodding and pretending to participate in proceedings was the most we could do. Near the end, I finally got information about the auction I needed. I found what time I'm supposed to be backstage and other stuff about my job. They asked me what I was going to wear, and I stopped short. I thought I could wear my regular clothes, but they suggested I wear something more flashy since I'm the host of the event. I don't have any clothes like that. How about a suit with a bow tie? That'd make you look like a real MC. A bow tie? That's embarrassing. What do you mean bow ties? Bow ties are cool. Bow ties are cool. The doctor said so. That's how I know it's true. I want to wear something more casual than that. How's the meeting going, Kei-chan? Oh, what you talking about? They're talking about what he's going to wear during the auction. If you don't have anything flashy to wear, I can get you something like that. Wait, really? Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Keiichi's father. Dad, I don't trust him to get me proper clothes. I'm sure he won't get me anything for men. A bow tie's fine. I'll just wear that. He knows what Dr. Erie's gonna get him. He's like, I know what Dr. Erie's gonna get me. It's gonna be a maid outfit. It'll be flashy, but it's gonna be a maid outfit. That suits him. If I didn't compromise on that, Erie and Mion would try and make me wear something outrageous. She'd also want me to wear women's clothes. You're part of the committee too, huh? Which team are you on? He's on the General Affairs team, where he's in charge of first aid. We always ask for his help since he's a doctor and all. All I have to do is give band-aids to people who trip and fall. It's an easy job for the most part. I'm just drinking beer under the main tent. It's nothing compared to your work, my bar. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. I'm gonna drink barley tea with him too. Be fine. You absolutely cannot prove it, huh? Oh, good evening, my bar. Nice to see you too, my bar-san. I like how it's like, oh, I'm just drinking beer under the main tent, and Rika, it's instantly barley tea. They're like, wait a minute. Do we have to get around censors to license this shit? All right, barley tea it is, everybody. Hello, ma'am. Thanks for being so nice to my son all the time. My bar, are you ready for the auction? I'm looking forward to seeing your show. It felt weird to see Chia-sensei and the principal outside of school. Rika, you're performing a dance at the festival, right? I heard it's right after my show. I'll look forward to it. It's a traditional ceremony she's performing. I'm sure you're nervous about it, huh? How do you feel this year? I'm used to it now. I'm fine. You've only done it once last year, but you're already used to it? I'm impressed. My Bara-san, it's been a while. Oh, Uishi. It's the cops. The cops are friends with us now this time. It's nice to see you. Have you been practicing the Tsubama Gaishi? We should play together. You won't get better unless you play every day, you know? You know how to play Mahjong, my bar? Oh, he knows how to play, doesn't he? He's a pretty good player, too. Perhaps we really should start playing Mahjong in our club now. We should go and crush every Mahjong parlor in the city. Luigi thinks I'm an experienced player since I was practicing Tsubama Gaishi the other day. Why do people misunderstand me all the time? I don't know shit. By the way, my bar, I heard about that case. Oh, what case? About what you're planning to do tomorrow evening? A few of my staff members and I are going to be there as well. Takano and Tomitake are coming too. We can't bring that many people, but I hope you'll let us join you. Oh, that's so nice of you. Thanks so much. Yeah, he really cares too, right? As I recall, Dr. Erie really cares too, so... everyone counts. Erie? I'm sorry we can't do much to help her, but we still want to do something. This is what Takano suggested. Takano? Yes. She wanted to help somehow. She feels bad she wasn't able to assist you the other day. Oh, were you talking about that rumor? The one saying my bar has become the leader of a protest group? Even you know about it? Well, you know about Satoko? Of course he does. He's very sensitive to rumors inside Hanamizawa. It's my job. I'm very aware of what's going on with Satoko. Who is she? What do you think about her case? I mean, she is, after all, a police officer. Could he have an opinion other than going to the Child Consultation Center? I mean, his opinion is he can't actually do anything because there's not anything strictly against the law for, or like something he can't actually interject in. See? I also think going to the center is the smartest thing to do. You're saying there's no way to save her before something happens? Well, we'd probably do the same. We'd meet with him and tell him not to harm her. I'm sure a professional social worker can do a better job than that, though. They take care of these cases better than the police can. Probably true. The police only take action after something happens, but Child Consultation Center can make a move before it does. It'd be a lot easier for us if we could arrest criminals before they commit crimes. That's true. However, we need to be careful about who we arrest, you know? We don't want to lose our jobs. that case, there's nothing wrong with them saying they want to wait and see for a while. Well, I don't think the center is being unreasonable, however. It must seem terrible from the POV of those who know Satoko and Teppei. Uishi was exactly right. They gotta be assuming we're overreacting. I mean, he knows who Teppei is, right? He knows Teppei's scum, too? He must be assuming we're overreacting by making a big fuss. It's only been a couple of days since you took her away, but the mindset can create huge problems. I'm sure they're gonna call him tonight, because we told them she's been missing at school for 3 days. They'll ask him why she hasn't gone to school. Teppei might beat her up for that. I don't know, however, if he continues to keep her at home after the phone call, the center will probably make a move. I think they'll talk to him about it. She might come to school tomorrow? It's possible. Teppei can't stay in Okonomiya for some reason. That's why he needs to stay at Satoko's house. I'm sure he doesn't want any further trouble. He can't stay in Okonomiya for some reason? That's right, for some reason. I heard he had some kind of money-related trouble. You don't know about that, Sonosaki? I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean, Mion? There's a reason he wants to stay in Satoko's house? Well, yeah. Teppei has money issues. He can't live in Okonomiya anymore. He's hiding out in Hinamizawa until the trouble brews over. Gonna start rolling on JP? Best of luck. Then he should hide somewhere alone. Why did he try to drag Satoko into this? Well, it's free real estate. Well, Satoko's your maid, right? It's the same thing. No, that's not right. Maids are about love. There's love behind my desires. He's a creep, but there's love behind his desires. I'm totally against violence. A master should treat his maid with love. How else do you have a romantic relationship? Let's ignore the pervert for one moment. So, Uishi, you think there's no choice but to let the center take care of it? I think that's the most realistic plan. There's certain steps you need to follow. When you take a piss, you go to the toilet and pull down your zipper. If you don't follow those steps, it ends in disaster. That's a gross way to put it. Disgusting old man. Sorry, I can't help. But I do find Satoko's case unfortunate. I hope everyone gets to have a happy ending. The center is going to make their decision regardless, but what are you doing? What you're doing isn't against the law either. What you're doing, my bar, is not a mistake. Don't give up and do all you can do. I'll support you. Thanks so much. We went there yesterday and today. We're going there tomorrow too. I believe we can save her as long as we don't give up. Best of luck, guys. 3 days in a row, huh? I heard you took 20 people with you today. Are you going to take that many tomorrow too? Keiichi has talented when it comes to stuff like this. You'll be surprised. There's going to be 60 people tomorrow. Why, that's amazing. I can see you becoming an active labor union leader when you grow up. The head of our union is pretty deplorable. You have to be a cop to be head of the police labor union, though. At that moment, I heard someone clapping. It was almost 9 p.m. The meeting was over. Everyone returned to their seats and listened to each section head's report on what they discussed. Incredible, Keiichi. You know so many people from the village? There's even more people I don't know. Are you sure? You're even talking with so many of them. I really am impressed. They're such nice people. Maybe I should be more involved with them, too. Oh, you should. Hinamizawa is all about people helping each other out. I know you're busy with work, but you should be involved as much as you can. I'll talk with your mom about that, I think. That's it for the meeting today. The next meeting is, tomorrow. I'll see you all then. It'll be the last major meeting before the festival. Thank you for coming today. Chairman, please give us some closing remarks. It's fine. Let's go home and get some drinks. That's it for now. Let's meet tomorrow at the same time. Thank you. Everyone laughed at the mayor's closing remarks. His sprite has seen one use in this story so far, and it was exactly that scene. We finished cleaning up, and everyone began filing out of the building. I almost said filling out of the building. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Even though it was a weekday, some of them were going out for drinks. Okay, so I wonder how many people actually show up. I feel like we're getting more than 60. I'm thinking we're going to get like 100 plus people. I think it's possible we might get 100 people. Even though it was a weekday, some of them were going out for drinks. They asked my dad to go along with them. He isn't an ordinary worker. He can sleep in if he wants to, as long as he makes his deadlines. Keiichi, they want me to come for a drink. I'm going, alright? Sure, have fun. I'm heading home then. Going home alone was kind of sad, so I thought I'd walk home with Mion, but she was still lingering at the meeting, talking with the mayor and other people. She's probably busy with the festival being so near. As I contemplated whether to wait for her or not, Uishi came up to me. Good job at the meeting. How'd you get here? I can give you a ride home if you want. Oh, I came here on my bike. I'm waiting for Mion. I see. Well, you'll be waiting a while. They're discussing the trouble they had with the refreshment booth team. Trouble with the refreshment booth team? It seems like a fun festival. They still have issues, yeah? Oh yeah, it's hard to make adjustments this late. Shaved ice and yakisoba are always popular, so everyone wants to do those, but it's a problem if every booth sold yakisoba, right? They need to make sure those kind of adjustments so there'll be a variety of booths, but people get upset when they have to run a booth that's not going to make a lot of money, you know? Oh, I hadn't actually thought about that when you're praying for festivals. I thought it was just people who already sold those things showed up and they just accepted X people that run specific things. Like if you're going to have like 5 of one kind of booth, you kind of just like say, okay, I'm going to stop, you know, you take like a bunch of, you take like a bunch of, I would assume, I'm guessing, assuming this is like a big enough festival where you have to put restrictions and not everyone can run whatever they want. Because, you know, if it's a really small festival and there's only like 3 booths, you know, do what you can. For like a larger festival, I imagine you'd take applications and be like, okay, we're going to accept 5 yakisoba, we're going to accept 5 shaved ice, we're going to accept X of this, and we'll like accept other ones as, you know, unique booths, you know, we don't care, we'll add them in there, no problem, and they'll probably do something like that. So, I hadn't thought about that though. They might have to manage that, and especially if this is a small town and people are... If this is a small town and there's not like a dedicated store for these, it might be people just helping out or running a booth because it's a hobby of theirs. They want to help out. They also fight about locations, who to hire, etc., etc. I had no idea things like that were so complicated. Well, everything needs adjustments. I guess it sounds like boring adult talk for a young man like yourself. But adjustments are necessary to make things go smoothly. What you're doing at the center is a secret adjustment in a way. Yeah, so... Yeah, for like larger places, right? If you're in like a major city holding a festival, there's probably enough actual people who sell their product that they'd actually want to go there. But for a small place like this, it might be volunteers running all the stands. Satoko and Tepe don't even know about it. Guess you might be right. We have no choice but to raise our voices. That's the only option we got. No, I'm proud to see you do something good. If I was your age, all I'd be able to think of is attacking him in the dark. Man, Keiichi must have had no other plans. He stuck around while I waited for Mion. There was no one else around at that time of night. It would have felt pretty lonely if he hadn't been there with me. I'm glad he stayed to chat. We talked about Mahjong for a while. Its theory, its techniques, its history. I rarely talked with a guy his age, so it was kind of interesting for me. It's nice to interact with people from a different generation sometimes, and he's also a police officer. I was secretly hoping he'd give me a hint about how to save Satoko, but in any case, I had to wonder what was taking Mion so long. By the time Keiichi finished his second cigarette, I started to think maybe I should go home for the night. I think I'm gonna head home. Mion's taking a little too long. I got something big to take care of after school tomorrow. Going to the center, you mean? Yep. I'm gonna fight until they come up with a plan to save Satoko. Consistency is important, and that's all we can do. Keiichi smiled upon hearing my passionate words. I bet the center understands your point by now. You know, there's a limit to what you can do. It's important to know when to quit. If you go too far, it only makes things more complicated. Can't just let her suffer. Of course you can't. I'm sure the child center won't leave her be either. They'll probably help her. They might help her, but probably only after she gets hurt. If Satoko suffers irreversible mental trauma, it'll be too late. Keiichi took out his third cigarette. That meant he's gonna stay here until he finished it. I didn't feel like waiting with him, though. I just wanted to go home and relax so I could prepare for tomorrow. I'm going home now. You know, my bar, there's something I wanted to tell you. The tone of his voice changed slightly. Whatever it was, it sounded important, so I stopped and turned back to face him. Actually, you see, I don't think you should go to the center tomorrow. You've made your point already. But we wanted to do this so we could save her. They aren't getting how urgent the situation is. We need to make more of a fuss if that's what it takes for them to understand. I think we'll make a bigger impact if we're there 3 days in a row. Oh, you're trying to show them every courtesy. But you know, my bar, sometimes you should just let sleeping dogs lie. What? Let me make this clear. This isn't a warning from the police, and no one told me to tell you this. I'm just giving you advice as your Mahjong friend. The word advice did not sound pleasant whatsoever. I wonder what he's gonna say here. Is he gonna tell us to do something else? Or is he gonna tell us they're specifically not doing anything and they won't ever do anything? It's an interesting thought. I'm not sure which one he's gonna do. Alright, I felt myself frowning involuntarily. Do you know what the center is thinking? You guys showed up 2 days in a row and you brought 20 people with you today. They're afraid you'll show up again tomorrow. Then why don't they just listen? I hope they're not planning to build a barricade so we can't get in tomorrow. No, they won't do that. Their job is to listen to these claims. They'll accept anyone who's come to make an appeal. They can't stop you from coming no matter how many times you show up. And they know that. So they need to take care of the matter before you bring even more people and cause even more trouble. You mean? Have they already made their decision? Not quite. They've started making secret adjustments so you can't come by to pressure them anymore. What do you mean? They made a secret adjustment so I couldn't bother them? I felt confused, and then Keiichi said something that sounded like a line from a political drama. These officials act a bit like the Yakuza sometimes. They don't want their badge disrespected. It's normal for them to ignore opinions opposing the decisions they've made, even if they realize their office is in the wrong. So if they listen to us, other people come to the office to get their cases taken care of? It's exactly it. They don't want people challenging their decisions. They'll listen to your appeal, but they're never going to change their stance unless there's something odd going on. Plus, this time Satoko's case is nothing special or noteworthy to them. He may have taken her away from where she lived, but it's a legal act, and he has parental rights. It's not like a parent without custody forcing his child to live with him. After all, he's the only blood relative she has. There's nothing legally speaking that prevents them living together. But that's not the case with Satoko and her uncle, and you know that. You know how violently he abused her last year. That was last year. Center can't do anything about it if he tells them he feels remorse over what happened then. And more than anything, Satoko told them he's not. Because last year she relied on her brother and she regrets overburdening him. As far as she's concerned, seeking help feels like she's betraying him. Well, I see. It might be difficult to persuade the child center in that case. Well, anyway, for reasons like that, the center can't understand why you and your group are pressing this so hard. We're just trying to let them know Teppei is violent and that he can't let Satoko stay with him. But why? You weren't here in Hinamizawa last year. I don't think you know much about Teppei. Why are you so sure he's dangerous? That was a hard question to answer. He was right. I didn't know much about Teppei. I'd never even seen his face, but I just know, way back in a different world, I didn't save her. I just stood by and I'd seen the world where Satoko was irreversibly broken. We all cried and regretted. I remember. He remembers some of the past worlds. I remember that. And he remembers it because he said, I don't think there's anything I can do this. He mentioned this time in regards to what the events happened. He's like, oh, we didn't manage to stop the explosion this time. Damn. He is like semi-aware of things sometimes. I couldn't explain that to Keiichi though. My friends had understood my premonition, but it's weird for someone to be so aggressive based on what he saw in his imagination. I mentioned it earlier, but sometimes a recently divorced couple battles for the custody of their child. The couple can sue each other, and sometimes their relatives sue the couple too. Some of them decide to sue their partner for not just the child, but because they hate them. This case is similar to something like that. It looks as though you're taking the actions because you hate Teppei. The child center needs to determine if you're doing this out of hate or genuine concern towards Satoko. Not all people go to the center out of goodwill like you. They can only make a decision after carefully determining if the information given by the petitioner is genuine. You need to understand. You're saying I was too direct and they're mistaking my appeal as one born of ill will? No. Just please try to understand. They have to evaluate it carefully. If they put a child under protection every time they got a report, the nation would careen out of control. Right, I think there's a passage in the civil law book the center showed us the first day. The family of the prosecutor must make an appeal to the family court. Family issues have to be resolved within the family. An outside appeal might move the center to take action, but an outsider can't tell them how to respond. And when it comes to that, Satoko's only family is her uncle. Since her uncle obviously isn't going to do anything, Satoko has to seek help on her own, but she's denying she's being abused at all. This isn't going anywhere. Center is simply hoping you'll give up. They have other cases that need more urgent attention, but they're not sure yet if they should ask you to give up. And that's what I wanted to tell you today. What do you mean? I don't get it. My bar, when you visited them today, did they treat you better than yesterday? A little. We were taken to a bigger room and the manager came to see us too. You might think the manager is ranked a little bit above regular members. However, his position is as high as a section chief in a regular company. It's difficult to achieve that position. The person you talked to today is actually a very powerful person, more than you could imagine. It's not normal for them to do that. The manager normally never shows up for a consultation. You need to recognize the treatment you got today was very special. It never seemed that special to me. I thought we were taken to a big room because we went there with more people, and Reina told them to adjust to us. Because you are so well organized, they're suspecting you're not the actual leader and that the family are the ones behind this movement. I'm sure you know how powerful the Sonozaki family is in this village. I do, but it doesn't have anything to do with them. We're simply fighting to save our friend. Mion hasn't even mentioned her name. That's what the child center wanted you to know. It's their normal routine to politely refuse a huge crowd of petitioners. However, things would be different if this was Oryu Sonozaki-san's idea. Oryu holds great sway in the city's government. No one can go against her wishes. I'm aware Mion's grandmother is powerful, but that has nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter. It could look like that. In order to make that clear, the local government officials approached the Sonozakis in secret. They met Oryu and asked her about this case. They were going to take action if they found out it was her idea, but they soon discovered otherwise. So they're not going to take action? It's not just that. Oryu is now aware there's a commotion going on in the village. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but some people in the village still hold a grudge against the Hojos, traitors of the dam conflict. Ever since the curse of Oyashiro, the Sonozaki family's been telling people not to interact with them. You might wake up a sleeping dog if you continue to make all this noise. And what happens if I wake the dog up? I don't know. Ushi paused for a while and drew on his short cigarette. I'm not saying you'll be threatened or they'll hurt you. However, you just moved here and you're starting to get to know people from the village. Soon enough, you might see the underside of this place. The issues between the Hojos and Sonozakis, well, village-wide matters have been slightly taboo in our group, but we may have to go down that road now. It was a fact. We haven't gotten any support from adults except for the school teachers in Erie. Other adults in the village must know what happened between Satoko and Teppei last year. They all understood it would be a disaster if they don't rescue Satoko as soon as possible, but no adult comes forward to help us. If we continue our movement, will the people who hate Hojo become our enemies too? It's possible. The Sonozaki family may get involved if you continue this commotion. You could say that the Sonozaki family is anti-Hojo. If you try to save Satoko using people from Inamizawa, it shows huge disrespect towards the Sonozaki family. It could be a huge problem. And at this point, I knew. This is a warning, not just advice. An ignorant young man in Hinamizawa is making noise trying to wake up a sleeping dog. I know you've taken a liking to this place and you're really doing your best here. That's why I thought I should let you know about this. Sorry if I upset you. I love Hinamizawa. I've made a decision to make this place my home, and I'm motivated about the big job I got for the festival too. Would it really be wise for me to create all this trouble? I'm just speaking as your friend, nothing more. I'm not trying to threaten you or anything like that. I'm not trying to make you do anything you don't want to. I just want to give you this information. Ueshi smiled at me and stopped on his cigarette. I thought I'd just made the decision to do what was right. But that was was that only the stupid idea of an ignorant boy? Did I need to grow up right now and think about this again? Dark clouds hung over my heart, but wait. Did that mean I didn't even have the courage to risk losing something? Was I not brave enough to save Satoko at all? I had to be the red fire. I couldn't give up, even if everyone else did. I had to fill other people. This is loud? Wow. Okay. I had to fill other people up with righteous flames just like I was. What's the matter? What a bold smile you're wearing right now. Thanks for the advice, but I can't give up no matter what you tell me. I'm not gonna stop if the whole world tells me to. Even if the whole world's against you, well, you're stronger than I thought. If the whole world tells me I'm making a mistake, I'll stop and reevaluate myself, but I've already talked about Satoko's case with my friends over and over again. It's not just my idea. I'm confident our decision is the very best one to make. I agree with you, Maibara. Young people like you tend to make hasty and dangerous decisions, but all of you are being very rational about this. You're making a democratic appeal. Just like Iri was saying, there's nothing wrong with your methods. No, but I'm positive we're not making mistakes. We're doing our best to save her. Come on, we can save her, right? We're not going to give up just because we feel threatened. We're true comrades. I have faith in us, even if the rest of the world doesn't. That's what friendship's all about. You have a strong will. Not even my detectives are as strong as you are. Ushi gave me a wicked grin of admiration, and I could tell from that grin, he wasn't trying to pressure me at all. It was exactly the opposite. He shared this information to confirm I was ready to face the challenge. I didn't even have to consider whether his words were advice or warning. Every man has things he wants to believe in, even if others don't share the belief. Of course, it's important to listen to advice with sincerity, but some things you can't turn from. That's what being a man's all about. I also have a strong will, you know? About 5 years ago, a person who was like a brother to me was killed. Murder? Yeah, the case was declared solved, but I'm continuing an investigation alone because I suspect there's another person in control behind the scenes. The department told me I was wasting my time. They told me to stop. Just like you, I can't give up. You getting close to finding who did it? I don't know about that. Anyway, if your resolve is that strong, there's nothing for you to fear. Just follow through on your beliefs. I'm often threatened to show more restraint if I want to keep my full retirement pay to myself, but I've never given in. There's a lot of things we men can't convey without being unwavering, exactly right. We can't give up, no matter how risky it will be. It's important to pursue your goal, and even if you end up playing into their hand, that's what being a man's about. If you're going down, go down fighting. You're right. Waffling between whether to go or go back isn't the attitude of a real man. How a man should be. We bumped our fists together, reaffirming that real men are the same regardless of generation. It wouldn't be a simple road to saving Satoko, but I wasn't gonna give up. Alright, we're gonna save Satoko. I have no doubts about that. Come on, can we save her? We're in Arc 7, so theoretically, something still goes bad, but we might be able to save Satoko, right? If they're gonna play this out like it's one massive 8-piece story, then the last story is probably the solution to the loop. But that doesn't mean we can't solve this problem, right? This problem is like solving the Satoko crisis, so Rika knows what to do for next time. We can think of it this way. It also might get Satoko out of the slump and make her immediately resist Teppei. Alright, no relations. First tip of the end of this chapter. Please hold a moment. I'll get her for you. Someone from the municipal office is calling. Hello? Hello, Sonozaki-san. It's Ida from the municipal government. Thank you very much for the ohagi the other day. You're quite welcome. Thank you for your work at the culture festival. For providing that large parasol. How much did that thing cost? We use it every year. We might as well buy one ourselves. We borrowed that from a teacher. I checked out the price, but the domestically ones cost about 200,000 yen, so $2,000 US. I also found one made in China. It's less than half the price. I don't care if it's made in China. Get one so we don't have to cause any trouble. For the teachers, we're actually ordering it already. Once it arrives, you might want to take a look at it and make a final decision. We've been holding the same Edo-style tea ceremony for the past 3 years. We should probably get an instructor from a different style. Can you look for a new instructor next year? Oh, will do, ma'am. We'll find a different tea ceremony instructor. About that, advisor. I had something else to ask you about. And here's me going with Parasol. What do you need? Well, indeed, this is going to be an interesting one. We were wondering if you heard anything about a case of Satoko Hojo in Hinamizawa. Satoko Hojo? You're talking about the blasted Hojo girl? What did she do? Well, she's recently moved in with her uncle, but she's being abused, apparently. Have you heard anything about it? Her uncle? Satoko's being abused? Oh, I've never heard of anything like that. Well, if you don't know, that's okay. To tell you the truth, someone from Hinamizawa came to petition to the Child Consultation Center. According to the center, the petitioner was very persistent. The manager felt it was better to talk with you if you already knew about it. Oh, I don't know anything. I don't care. Why would I do anything for that pitiful child? The Sonozaki family has nothing to do with this. Why would I do anything for that pitiful child? Isn't Oryu a wonderful person? She's like, I hate children. I kick puppies for a living. Have you heard anything about it from the town council? No, what are you saying? If Kimiyoshi was helping that blasted Hojo child, the Sonozaki would know about it. Who's petitioning the center? I heard some of her classmates were there. Well, as far as I know. Anyway, I guess it's just something her classmates are doing. And the village has nothing to do with it? Of course not. I don't know anything. The village has nothing to do with Satoko. The contents of this conversation were forwarded to the consultation center. If Oryu wasn't behind the commotion, they had no need to take the case seriously. The manager told his staff to listen to what the petitioners have to say, but never say anything promising the girl's safety. Keiichi Maibara. I guess a boy like that will grow to become a political advocate in the future. 10 out of 10 useful government agents are like, oh, a problem. Well, there's people complaining. We'll contact the local Yakuza branch. Hey, Yakuza, there's some people complaining about someone being abused. Do you know anything about this? Fuck that person. I guess we're not doing anything. 10 out of 10 government. Alright, sending the brat back. It had been 3 days since he told her to stay home. He got another call from that annoying teacher again, so he yelled at her and hung up the phone. That woman's too persistent, Teppei thought. She won't give up that easily. He was sure she'd call the child center again. The biggest reason why Teppei refused to let Satoko go to school was his fear that she'd seek help when going there. She pretended like nothing was wrong when the worker from Child Consultation Center showed up, but that was only because he was right beside her. She'd probably betray him as soon as she got her chance. Then the censor would show up immediately, or maybe even the police would come and get him for assaulting Satoko. One of his friends told him the consultation center worked with the police, sometimes. He had a lot of weight on his shoulders. If the police came, they'd end up questioning him about the other trouble he was involved in. He couldn't let that happen. All he needed was the money. Teppei could leave this awful village behind as soon as he found his brother's bank book. He usually stayed at home, as he found the way the other villagers looked at him unpleasant, so when playing Mahjong with his friends, he played it at Satoko's house. Mahjong requires at least 4 people though, and when he couldn't get that many people to come over, he just stayed at home and watched TV instead. He started using his ample free time to sniff around the house for his treasure. Satoko would end up cleaning the mess he'd made. Besides, it wasn't his home anyway. What did it matter to him how much furniture he broke? He cleared out the closet and went up to the attic. He pulled out all the chests and searched them thoroughly. His wife had been a clever woman. She must have hid it somewhere very unusual. He messed up the whole first floor and went to the second floor to search some more. The next moment, Satoko went and tried to tackle him. Not Nini's room. The hell? You can't go inside Nini's room. Teppei immediately assumed she was hiding the bank book in there. He threw her off and forced his way inside the room. However, Satoko tried to stop him with all her might. It was amusing for Teppei to see Satoko resisting him to that extent, but it also surprised him. He asked her why she didn't want him to go in Satoshi's room. Room belongs to Nini. He'll be hurt if he comes back and sees his room destroyed. You don't want me there because it's your brother's room? You don't even know if he's alive. He's alive. He'll come back home. Don't destroy his room. What are you saying? I'm not going to destroy the room. I'm just trying to clean it up. Why would you have to save this room for someone who's not here anymore? I need to clean it up. No. Can't. Nini. And she's not. Alright, the hell? You really don't want me to go inside? Satoko's crazed behavior convinced him he should stop provoking her for the moment. While Teppei was talented at threatening people, despair makes cowards courageous. If he ignored Satoko and tore apart the room, she might just run away, and he didn't want her to be nearby. But he also couldn't let her run loose. Fine, if you promise to be a good girl, I won't go inside the room. Alright. Got it? Yes. But if you make me mad, I'm gonna rip this room apart. If you escape from this house or tell people about what's happening, everything in there is gonna end up in the garbage. Get it? Yeah, thank you for giving me a chance. Teppei was sure the bank book was inside the room, but Satoko would lose it if he went inside. He wasn't pleased about the promise, but at least it keeps her under control. It might not hurt him to send her off to school. If he kept her home again tomorrow, the teacher might come to the house with the police in tow. He's only keeping her at home because he's afraid Satoko would talk to other people. If she wasn't going to do that, it's better for him to send her to school. He could sneak into Satoshi's room while she's out. Satoko, you've been a good girl. I guess your cold's all better now. Go to school tomorrow. Thank you so much. He was the one who told her to say thank you when he gives her approval to do something, but it annoyed him to hear her say it over and over. Out of my sight, brat. You're so annoying. Alright, well. Well, that's going to go well. Okay. Well, this is going to go swimmingly. So, we finished Chapter 7. That means we're officially past the halfway part of the story. I think the focus of this story is almost entirely, since we haven't resolved this issue, it's not like there's going to be a 2-arc thing. In the last story, it felt like there were 2 arcs, so we ended the arc at around like Chapter 6. I feel like we might keep going for a little bit on this one. We'll see if it spirals out of control or what happens, because we haven't even, we're getting all these problems, and we haven't even hit the festival yet. Like, we're at Chapter 7, and we haven't even touched the festival. This is probably one of the slowest arcs so far. I think all the tension's going to be, like, pre-festival. The festival might just be, like, a relaxing closer before another disaster strikes, so that we can get Part 8. We got a bit of time. We made some good progress. We have some time. I think we can push just a little bit further. I also want to find out how many people show up today. How many people are going to show up next day? Right? You want to know, right? You're like, okay, he's contacted like 20 people. Surely, he's contacted like enough people to maybe get 20 plus people. We'll see. The Child Consultation Center finally contacted Satoko's uncle after finding out she was missing from school 3 days in a row. I'm sure it was because of our efforts Satoko was able to come to school today. Debatable. We couldn't really celebrate after seeing her pained expression. Satoko, we were so worried about you. Are you sure nothing's happened to you the past 3 days? I really did have a fever the whole time. I'm sorry for making you all worry. She started telling us why she hadn't been at school. Nobody even asked her that. Her uncle must have told her to say this to everyone. It's so painful to see her like this. Reina seemed more angry than sad. Inside, I felt the same way. I felt like my anger was boiling up and lodging painfully in my throat. Zombie Satoko. He was only letting Satoko come to school because he was certain she wouldn't do anything that would put him at a disadvantage. He was treating her like a tamed animal. Was it too late already? I thought of the broken Satoko I once saw in my imaginary world. Satoko, do your best, alright? Of course I will. I'm doing well, even though Nini isn't here with me. I slowly reached out my hand towards her head. As a reward for doing your best, I'll pat your head. Do you mind? She didn't reply, but she didn't refuse. I slowly put my hand on her head. She didn't react, but a tear rolled down from her eye all of a sudden. Was she crying because she didn't want to be touched? That wasn't it. Rather, it was the opposite. If I stopped patting her head, I'd hurt her feelings. She felt obligated to survive without her Nini, but that didn't mean she didn't want anyone else's help. She couldn't appreciate my patting her head openly. She had no choice but to cry in silence. Satoko, you won't tell anyone if you cry right now. After Reina said that, Satoko started crying like a baby. I felt relieved knowing it wasn't too late. She hadn't yet suffered from a fatal emotional wound that I saw in my imaginary world. However, her tears made it clear I needed to save her as soon as possible, no matter what the whole world might say to me. Satoko, everyone's going to help save you, I promise. Satoko, we weren't just doing nothing the past 3 days. Right, Keiichi? Right, we're making an appeal to the Child Consultation Center. We're asking them to save you from your horrible uncle. You don't have to do that for me. Oh, it's not just us, right, Tomita? Right, it's not just me either. Okamura and the whole class are fighting for you. Right. We all went to the Child Consultation Center together. We're going again today too, right, my bro? Yep, we're going again. We're not going to give up until we save you. All the boys and girls in class answered my call with their cheers. Satoko seemed a little surprised, but soon became expressionless again. Is that why the social worker came to my house? That really wasn't necessary of you. Satoko, did he hurt you because of that? What got Mion's voice wrong? She wouldn't answer. I couldn't tell what the silence really meant, though soon after, Chie entered the classroom. She must have heard the noise we were making. Hojo-san, are you feeling better now? We didn't know for sure if she was really sick or not. All of us, including Chie, were feeling the same thing. I'm fine. Sorry for worrying you. Everything's okay now. Will you be attending school regularly from now on? Yes, you don't have to continue worrying about me. You don't have to talk to any more social workers. Hojo-san, if you feel overwhelmed, you can come stay with me. I'm on your side, okay? You're welcome at my house anytime. Hey, Chie-sensei, don't act like you're the only one who can help her. Satoko, we're all on your side here. That's right. You can come to my apartment too. We have an extra room. You can use it as your own. She can't do that. Satoko's my pet. She has to go back to my house. Me? Wait, she said Nipa. Damn it, I guessed poorly. I actually skipped the last word and was like, oh no, did you say me or Nipa? See? You're not alone. Everyone's trying so hard to save you. But I don't know if people at the Child Center will ever understand how we feel. If what Uji told me yesterday was true, once they learn this isn't the will of all Hinamizawa, once they learn it's only her classmates creating a stir, they might harden their stance against us. All we planned was to go there with more people and ask for the same thing. The center was going to say the same thing to us too. It wasn't going to be different from yesterday. They'd tell us it's only normal for her uncle to take care of her because he's legally her guardian. They'd also tell us there's no proof of abuse happening. And why do they think that? Well, Satoko won't admit she's being abused. I appreciate your kindness, but I'm fine. That's a lie. Reina spoke with her smile, but her words cut short. You're not okay, Satoko. You're not fooling us well enough. All us here and many more people know you're in pain right now. That's why we're doing our best to stand up and help you. We're reaching our hands to be and save you from your struggle, but we can't save you without your helping. She's right, Satoko. No matter what we say to the center, they'll tell us there's no abuse because you're denying it's happening. We all want to help you, but we can't if you don't accept our help. I understand. I was just like you once, but I thought no one could help me. I thought whatever I was doing was the only thing I could do. That's why I didn't accept my friend's help. But someone taught me something. I can't even remember who it was. Someone taught me something. The world you want most is right in front of you. But you won't get there unless you take our hands. It doesn't mean anything if we're the only ones reaching out. Come on, Satoko, you gotta reach your hand to us too. We can take each other's hands and return to the world we wish for. Reina, who told you that? I don't remember. I think I heard it before I went to kindergarten. I can't remember who told me that. I can still clearly remember the feeling. I'm here because of what that person taught me. Reika's just like, damn, lots of people partially remembering shit now. I agree. Whoever it was that taught that to Rena, he wasn't wrong. Satoko, do you think it's better not to ask for help? You think that's the best thing you can do? But you're wrong about that. Look at yourself in the mirror. Is that the face you want to wear? I'm sure it's not. You don't want any part in this world. We can bring you back to the world you want to live in. We're reaching our hands out. Come on. Those hands are almost touching you. But we can't just reach far enough. If we could, we'd pull you by the hair to get you out of this mess, but we can't make it. You gotta reach out your hand, too. Our hands are right here. They're right in front of your nose. You gotta take them. If you just reach out your hand, we could pull you up into a happier world. Satoko wouldn't reach out her hand. She just stared at mine as though praying for something. Her fingers were shaking, but Satoko wouldn't try to reach her hand towards mine. I felt like screaming in anger, but I didn't want to scare her. If I did that, she'd never trust me again, and all I could do was wait for her to reach out her hand. Thank you so much. Really, I appreciate it, but I'm really perfectly fine. I really am. Satoko? She needs more time. Satoko needed time to sort out her feelings, but her time limit was getting closer and closer. It was unfortunate she didn't realize that herself. The next moment we heard someone approaching our classroom, and by the sound of the footsteps we could tell it was the principal. And so I couldn't tell why Satoko was twitching like she just got electrocuted. The door opened and the principal strode inside. He seemed relieved to see her back in school. However, Satoko reacted both dramatically and bizarrely. She let out an inexplicable scream and ran to the back of the classroom, hiding behind the curtain. No one in the classroom could understand her actions. We never even considered it was because the principal entered the room. The principal, however, realized it immediately. She was scared to see him. Hojo-kun, is everything alright? He spoke in a kind voice, but Satoko was still afraid. It was plain as day to all of us. She was frightened at the sight of the principal, but no one knew why. Are you okay, Satoko? You don't need to be afraid. We're all on your side. My uncle's here. Everyone thought for sure Satoko's uncle had shown up to get her. We rose at once, shielding her in a circle, and searched the room. I'd yet to see our uncle's face, but we're in school now. If someone unfamiliar shows up, I'd spot him immediately. If he tried to force Satoko to leave, well, forget everything else. I'd end the fight here. Mion and Shion thought the same thing, but while Satoko remained frightened, we couldn't find any sight of her uncle. He was trembling as if he was already inside the classroom, but there was no sight of him. And I realized the truth. She's frightened by the figure of the principal. I could understand she'd be scared of his footsteps, but she was still terrified after he showed his face. This isn't quite normal. It made it clear to me how much stress she was dealing with. Rika hushed Satoko and whispered into her ear. It's okay, your uncle isn't here. Your mean uncle isn't here. But he's right there. My uncle's right there. He's come to take me back home. Calm down, Satoko. Did you take your shot today? My uncle is here. Oh, okay. Her shot? What are you talking, Rika? Okay, she needs Irie's help. Tell him Satoko's in an emergency. Hurry up, Chia. Let's take her to the nurse's office. What's wrong, Satoko? Satoko? Let's call the coach. He needs to see a doctor. Does anyone have his number? I do. Let's go use the phone at the teacher's office. I headed to the nurse's office after I asked Mion to make a phone call to the doctor. There were lots of students surrounding the office. Chie was forcing out the other kids who entered the room with them, and I snuck behind her, entering it myself. Satoko was lying on the bed, shaking with fear. Reina and Rika were there with her, and trying to calm her down. I spoke quietly as to not scare Satoko. Is she okay? What's going on? I don't really know. She's really scared. She thought the principal was her uncle. Hearing that made it easier to understand, but it was hard to believe. He'd been right in front of us. He'd spoken to her in such a kind voice. It was really hard to believe she couldn't tell it was the principal. When there's a dark spot on the wall, what does it look like to you? What? People who hate flies will think it's a fly. It might look like a spider, or a cockroach if that's what you hate. People tend to sense something they don't like when they can't tell what that something is. She thought of her uncle when she heard the principal's footsteps, but she was still scared even after he showed up. The illness Satoko has prevents her from correcting those misassumptions easily. What does she mean, illness? I tried to ask Rika, but Satoko was becoming more frightened. Rika held her hand gently and tried to calm her down. Reina tapped my shoulder. He was indicating to me we should leave Rika and Satoko alone in the room. I agreed with her. Satoko was in tremendous shock. We're going back to the classroom for now. Yes, please do. Reina and I left the office. My classmates were asking Chie about Satoko's condition. As soon as they saw me, they waltzed over and asked how she was. We're gonna leave her up to Rika for now. Satoko's very frightened. Please don't do anything to make her afraid. She'll only get more scared if we continue to make this much noise. Go back to the classroom. Coach will be here soon. I'll take care of him. Called him, right, Michan? Yeah, he'll be here right away. He said to let Rika take care of her, and not to let her out of the nurse's office. Get back to the class, everyone. We're gonna start homeroom. A rough homeroom, surely. While the teacher took her attendance, a car arrived on the premises. Everyone's attention was drawn to it. 3 people with white gowns came out of the vehicle. Eri ran into the school in a hurry. We were surprised to see 3 people show up. It made us worry that Satoko was in worse shape than we realized. But Chie-sensei felt the same way. She left the class to Mion and hurried to the nurse's office. Despite our worries, Satoko returned to the classroom 10 minutes later. She was still as depressed as she was in the morning, but she was no longer in a state of panic. Satoko, are you okay now? I think you should rest some more. I'm sorry for scaring you. I'm fine now. Satoko seemed bothered by the way we were worrying about her. Chie also returned to the classroom, and at the same time, I snuck out so I could talk to Eri and his staff. I saw him talking with Rika. Coach, is Satoko really okay? Maibara. She's fine for now. We should keep an eye on her, though. It was just a little panic attack. She's all good now. A little panic attack. Are you sure? You're saying she has some kind of illness? I should be going. Call me if anything happens. Coach bows and leaves so he can comment. He's like, I know how to make my exit. Goodbye! It was like he's avoiding my question about Satoko's condition. Keiichi, can you promise to keep a secret? What? Oh, sure. Satoko's been sick since a few years ago. He's been getting treatment for that illness for a long time. It was surprising to hear that. It meant she was already sick when I first met her. I'd never seen any sign of it, though. Disease can't be cured easily. She can live a normal life as long as she gets proper treatment and medication. I see. It sounds like it's under control. I had no idea she was sick until you told me about it. She should be fine, right? She was hardly in a good condition. It makes me hesitant to use the word fine. What kind of disease could she have? Based on what I saw earlier, she might have a mental illness rather than a physical one. It might be because of how she was abused in the past. I've heard that mental trauma is not easy to cure, but it needs medical attention at times. That must be what's going on, right? Satoko has to take 2 shots every day. Since her uncle was bullying her, she forgot to take her shot this morning. You mean Satoko becomes emotionally unstable if she doesn't take those shots? Rika nodded quietly. It was quite the shock. Satoko I know is energetic and mischievous, who's always bouncing like a super ball. I couldn't believe she turned into a scared little animal by forgetting to take a shot. She becomes afraid when she doesn't take her shots. When something happens suddenly, or when she hears a strange noise, or sees something unusual, it feels like they're things that are coming to harm her. So she thought her uncle came to the school and she heard the principal's footsteps? Right. Once she's convinced herself the footsteps belong to her uncle, it becomes the truth for her. Eventually, even after she saw his face, her mind told her it was her uncle. You said she can't organize information quickly enough? Is that what her illness is about? I don't even want to know what the disease is called. I feel bad for her. I had no clue she'd been fighting this condition for so long. Poor girl. Keiichi, don't tell Satoko anything about her illness. Why not? I guess I shouldn't ask. It may not be a nice thing to talk to her about her illness. I guess that's what she's trying to tell me. She came back to the classroom, but is she okay now? Eri gave her injection. She'll be alright for now. She's seriously sick to the point where she requires a doctor's attention. And I realized something in the next moment. Hey, can we have her be hospitalized? We can force her to stay in the hospital if she refuses. That way we can save her from her uncle. That's a great idea. Eri suggested that before, but Satoko refused. It's not about refusing or not. If a doctor tells you you have to stay, Keiichi, if Satoko doesn't go back to her home, her uncle's gonna get rid of her Nini's room. What? Satoko feels obligated to protect the Hojo residents until Satoshi comes home. He was taking advantage of her? So that's the reasoning. Taking advantage of her. Teppei is telling her that he'd get rid of Satoshi's room if she didn't stay with him? That's horrible. Don't tell anyone about this. She's not good at controlling herself. She might get very angry about this. He brought up Shion, but I was also furious about this. I mean, that is pretty rough. I had to calm down, though. I needed everyone's help in order to save Satoko. I couldn't ruin everything by acting foolishly. I had no time to stop. Damn it. If Satoko asked for help, we could have helped her right away. Just because she hadn't asked didn't mean she didn't need it. As her friends, we have to help her. Especially after learning he was controlling her by threatening to get rid of her room? Her brother's room? She told you he's threatening her, right? Can't we take that as an SOS? Rika nodded slightly. Keiichi, we don't have much time left. I was all too aware of that. She had a panic attack just because she didn't take her shot this morning. If she stayed in her current environment, it'd be too late to save her in a matter of days. I saw her future when I saw Satoko crying behind the curtain this morning. This is the third day. We have 10 times more people on our side than we did the first day, but we're not gonna stop there. Keiichi, it won't be that easy to save her. I've tried many times, but never succeeded. Really? You don't remember? You're different this time. I think you're getting very close to saving her. I believe you're someone who can defeat me. What did she mean when she said I didn't remember? I didn't have time to ask questions. Yeah, you're right. I'll defeat fate. Just watch me. Just watch me. Yeah, I got this. I don't know what's happening, but I got this. I got this. We got this. I'm kind of surprised. This is the crisis we are solving for this arc, though. I was kind of thinking we'd be trying to solve Takano and Tomatake's death. I mean, we did learn a little bit more about them, but I thought we'd be trying to solve that crisis, or the crisis of Rika dying, not this crisis? But hey, this might be a part of their getting everyone on board, right? If we solve... Because we've solved Reina going crazy. We've sort of solved... I mean, Keiichi's kind of solved himself going crazy. So we're like solving everyone's issues, sort of, I feel like. Like, although we didn't have an entire arc dedicated to Keiichi solving it, we did have the Reina arc where Keiichi kind of put together things and solved his own, like, potential madness. So as long as he remembers, then that arc, that, like, section may not happen. I think that's kind of where we're going. So we're trying to get Satoko. We're trying to get Satoko on the right track, because if we get Satoko on the right track, then next time we play through this, if her uncle returns, she'll be stronger, she'll be able to resist him more effectively, she'll get him out, and we'll be able to, like, move the fuck on, instead of having this problem, right? That might be how it's going. A huge crowd had formed in front of the library. It was hard to believe over 50 people assembled in front of such a quiet place. Okay, things are getting interesting today. That's my Barasan, our leader today. Glad to meet you. Kamada brought a bunch of athletes with him. They were all very tall and full of spirit. Being greeted by a bunch of big people at once made me feel a little uncomfortable. Oh, I shouldn't feel so intimidated. The commander can't act bashful in front of his troops. Following after them were our nameless comrades who sympathized with our plight at Angel Mort yesterday. I hate to say it, but I never expected any of them to actually show up. Seeing them here to support us made me feel glad. They seemed plenty pumped up too, raising up fervorous cries? Shrieks, maybe? The commander did so much for me. He brought not only his teammates, but also the people from Angel Mort. I couldn't thank him enough. Don't worry, Kei. We're all brothers at Angel Mort. I heard from the people who went to the dessert yesterday that the dessert named Innocent Blue Sundae is the best one. Let's eat it together this summer. Keiichi-kun, this is incredible. You gathered this many people by yourself? Hello. I never expected you to get this many people here. Good job. Tomoitake, Takano, why are you two here? Oh, you didn't know? They told us they'd come to the meeting last night. Coach is supposed to be here too. Sorry I made you wait so long. Sorry for being so late. It took me a while to leave the clinic. Wow, Coach, that's amazing. It's amazing. Coach had brought some sashes, headbands, and banners with him. He was well prepared. The sashes read, and headbands read, Save Satoko Hojo, and the consultation center must take action immediately. They're perfect for our protest. He'd brought lots of extras too. Takano and Shion handed them out to other supporters. You know, Coach, I love that style of yours, but you've earned some respect today. You know, I really like these things. Not all 60 of us know each other, but we all wear the same headbands. I start to feel a real sense of unity. Feels like I'm back at the damn conflict. The people of Hanami-sama are wearing headbands and sashes just like these. It's like they're invincible. No one can make them stop. Tomoitake was exactly right. Even the kids from Okonomiya were willing to wear the headbands. It was like we were supporting a baseball team. Here, Rika. Took us a while to get all of these made. You hear me? I'll do everything I can. I'll do my very best to help us rescue Satoko. Here, these are yours, Keiichi. It felt like a field trip yesterday, but today it's totally different. I agree. I figured showing up in greater numbers would intimidate them, but this has way more impact. Bluffs are very important, after all. It's just about time. Call us to attention, Captain. Captain? Oh, I'm just the person who set this up. Keiichi, you need to act more like a leader. Get up there and stand strong. Tomoitake taking pictures. I walked out in front of everyone while Tomoitake took pictures. Everyone went quiet and turned their gazes to me. I felt so nervous, but at the same time, I felt thrilled to see all of our comrades here. Thanks for being here today, everyone. As you know, it's been 4 days since my classmate Satoko Hojo was taken by her uncle. How can he claim to be her guardian? He used to beat her. He neglected her for a year to live with his lover in Okinomiya. The Child Consultation Center must urgently take care of this matter and save her from him. However, they're putting her case on hold. They just don't understand how much of an emergency this is. Today, we're going to attempt our third appeal so as to get them to save her as soon as possible. From those who saw Satoko at school, you should all know. She was at her wit's end after only 4 days. Can't leave her in that environment any longer. This is our third attempt. We have so many people on our side too. Let's let them know how important this is. We're not going to neglect our friend. Amazing. This really is the return of the damn conflict. My father wasn't even living here when that happened. This is quite interesting. There must be something about this village that brings people together. That's just the culture here, I think. Something like this happening was inevitable. I come from a city where neighbors don't know each other's faces. I'm a little jealous. That's a bit rich coming from someone who keeps complaining about the lack of trains. All units prepared for assault. Give us the order to lay our lives down, Your Excellency. Press our demands. Rescue the target. Everyone follow Kei's command. Kei's command. Alright. It's not a cryptic command, but Kei's command. A new modular spell. Pick 2, choose your favorite. Pick 2 of 4, choose your favorites. Yeah. Everyone had that much vigor before we even entered the building. They had to have heard what was going on outside. In fact, panicked-looking people were staring at us out the window. Well, here goes nothing. Yuri pushed me forward, and I took the first step of our third attempt with the weight of 60 people on my shoulders. We went through the automatic doors and slowly crossed 20 meters to the counter. How will they take this? Well, the first day was just a counselor, yesterday a manager. Think we'll get the guy in charge? I don't know. But I'm sure they'll understand how much we care about her. Hello? How may I help you today? Same as yesterday. Here to appeal for immediate action on behalf of Satoko Hojo. At the end of the far end of the office, I saw the manager from yesterday talking to a guy sitting behind an important-looking desk. I could tell he was intimidated to see so many people. Shion said this was the day we'd finally close the deal, but I couldn't be that optimistic yet. To be honest, our current numbers were probably the maximum number of people I could get. What do we do if things don't work out today? I put up a brave front, but internally I was nearly cracking with anxiety. Looking at the hopeful, encouraging expressions on Reina's face as she walked beside me helped disperse those timid feelings. Reina might hold the very same worries inside of her heart. Everyone must be wondering, can we really save Satoko or not? But today, we're supporting each other by hiding those worries. It was unmistakably our team's strong point. We could never have gathered so much energy and strength alone. Their power can only be created when people work together. It takes forever for a drop of water to wear away at a rock, but a tsunami can break it to pieces in but a moment. The manager approached the counter. He started speaking to me, saying that as the meeting room wasn't open, he couldn't let us all into one room. However, the head of the office was willing to see us, so we could use the reception area in front of his desk. Since the room is small, however, he asked us to choose 3 representatives to come inside. Oh, I'm sorry. We hope you'll understand this out of concern for our visitors and show you're willing to cooperate. We are here with all these people and they're only letting 3 people inside? I wanted to refuse, but Mion told me to take it. If we occupied the office members, they could fault us for obstructing their business. I think they're intimidated enough. The head of the office is willing to talk with you today. I think that's the best treatment you can get from them. They're all shaking like scaredy cats. Meow meow. Meow meow. Still, it's definitely a lie that the meeting room isn't available today. I think so too. But Michan's right. I think they're intimidated enough. The head of the office is the top of the whole organization. If he's willing to talk to us, we might have to compromise as well. If we refuse to see him, that will go on the record. We don't want them to be able to claim we refuse to talk with him. I think we should make it clear we're here to have a conversation. It was good to get suggestions from so many different people. If it was only me, I would have gotten pissed off and left. It was probably not the best idea. Once again, I felt how important it was we were a team. I understand. 3 of us will talk to him then, but who? Keiichi, you have to go. Other than that, I think Coach and me would be the best choice. The head of the office recognized me. They'll think this is the Sonosaki family's doing. I can't let them think that my family has nothing to do with this. Sorry. It's those adult circumstances again. Same as Satoko's our fight. That old hag has nothing to do with this anyway. How about you, Reina-san? You should go and talk with them. I don't mind, but what about you, Rika? As Satoko's best friend, I think you should be a representative. Rika's a quiet girl, so it'd be hard for them to understand what she's thinking. However, she's Satoko's best friend. She'd been living with her for the past year as if they were family. She has the strongest bond with Satoko out of any of us. A good argument. Alright, Coach, Rika, and me, we're going in. Roger, I'll get everyone under control. Mion winked at me and started explaining the situation to everyone else. Right. Meeting with the head of the office. We're up to the third tier of person. I never thought I'd be chosen as one of the representatives. I'm not a very good speaker, so really, I know Shion should have been picked instead of me, but I just couldn't refuse when they told me Satoko's best friend should be the one to go. They told us to sit on the couch inside the visitor's room. The counselor, the manager, the head of the office were there. The way they treated us was improving every time we came. I didn't know if today's appeal would change anything, but I was starting to feel the direction of fate shift little by little. You think, Rika? Things have changed dramatically in a few days. I have no idea what will happen next. Hanyu appeared beside me. It had been a while since she showed up. Hanyu was assuming we still wouldn't be able to save Satoko in this world either. She always felt it was best to just watch what happened without hoping for a positive change. I'd been hurt so many times after betrayal while hoping for change. Surely this wasn't good for my soul. I've been beaten down over and over again. It's better to be quiet and do nothing. It's better not to expect change. That way, if something bad happens, I don't feel the pain. My fate was already a dead end, but was that really true? I did my best in many of my previous lives. I always acted alone, though. A miracle only happens when everyone combines their efforts, or so we're learning, apparently. I was starting to feel the depth of what that meant. So they got the head of the office. They're at like the third level of importance in the bureaucracy. Do they have to go even harder here? We'll see, I guess. Even so, that didn't guarantee we could save Satoko. It was the best chance I'd had so far, certainly, but that didn't prove anything. I couldn't call it a miracle just yet. A miracle is something far more dramatic. This wasn't a miracle. Not quite yet. There was still someone else who needed to reach out for this to become a miracle.
Senpai?
Everyone had been working so hard. If they truly believe they can bring about a miracle, who amongst them doesn't believe? Isn't there someone who's not reaching out their hand like everyone else is doing? Basically, it's because of a miracle. Satoko, a miracle won't occur. Things won't change unless she starts seeking help herself. I know, but that isn't so easy for her. Everyone's trying to save her, but she's not reaching her hand out in return. Before they even came here, they should have tried persuading her first. You think we should tell her to reach out her hand? Yeah. I know it's not an easy thing for her, but it wouldn't be easy. As difficult as waiting for another world, as fortunate as this one. In any case, I'm the only one with the key to open her heart. I'm like family to Satoko. I know she thinks the same. I'm not trying to brag or anything. She's like family to me as well, but my feelings toward her are even deeper than that. It might be only 1 year for Satoko, but I've spent decades with her. You know, I just realized something. I know why this isn't yet a miracle. But why is that? For a miracle to happen, everyone must come together, but someone's missing. One person is not working with everyone. That's why the miracle hasn't occurred yet. Are you talking about Satoko? No, it's me. I'm talking about me. I'd just been observing like a spectator. I'd been tired of this eternally repeating world and acted like a witch. I'd forgotten the powerful feeling needed to change fate. In other words, it was like I was supposed to be an actress, but I was sitting back and eating popcorn. I'm not a spectator. I'm one of the people on the stage, and that's why this play was never successful. Alright, time to get acting. In the world where Reina took over the school. If I had done anything, Keiichi would have died in an explosion. Because I got on the stage like I was supposed to, the play didn't end that day. I'm part of this world too. It's such an obvious thing, I must have forgotten it a long time ago. I have to open up her heart. I gotta set her free from Satoshi. I'm sure someone else can do that too, but I have the greatest chance of success. If I don't get up on the stage again, a miracle will never happen. Rika, you once did the same thing over and over again, remember? Are you gonna make the same mistake again? I'm aware of that. I'll never end up in a world this fortunate again. The cheap resolve to try hard again in the next world will just cause my efforts to reach a dead end somewhere else, far more easily and in a far more hopeless form than it would in this world. This is my last chance. If this world doesn't work out, well, I'll give up. What? Hanyu looked at me with surprise. For us, the term giving up means more than what it sounds like. It doesn't only mean I accept my fate, it means I accept the dead end waiting for me, and in other words, accept my death. Wait, hold up. We did need to hear what this sounded like. Someone wanted to hear what it sounded like. Here, let's hear it. That's what you want for a new sound effect? Maybe there's a more happy one. That one sounds pretty close to despair instead of being funny. We'll see if we can find a better one. You know, regrets occur even when we haven't made an effort, you know? I was blessed with such a fortunate world this time. I mean, I never thought her uncle would come back, but overall it's been very lucky. With the wind at our backs, I think I've probably unfurled my sails as far as I can. That's why I believe this time will be different. And I also think if this doesn't work out, nothing will. If that happens, I think I'll be able to finally give up. Don't say that. I'm the only person who can communicate with Hanyu. If I disappear, she'll have to go on with her life all alone. It's the last thing Hanyu wants to happen. Perhaps that's why she says the things she does. She doesn't want my lifespan to wither away by getting hurt emotionally. See, I belong here in this play. You showed me how to enjoy watching it, but the play won't move on as long as I refuse to act. Surely that's why it always results in a dead end. Rika, I'm sure one day you'll get another fortune knife where her uncle doesn't come back. I'm sure you'll roll that extra 6 next time. A fortunate world like this one where Satoko's uncle doesn't come back. You're right. It would be wonderful. Still, trying to beat my fate of death is another issue entirely. It sounds wonderful, but it's not guaranteed. Let's wait for another opportunity. Please. Please don't say that you're going to give up after this world. If I die, no one will ever hear you cry again. All you'll ever be able to do is make people sense your presence by making noise. Well, I'm heading back to the stage. I'll do what I can. You're sick of repeating this over and over, aren't you? I'd rather repeat everything than spend the rest of my life without you. Currently, she thinks this time loop that's driving me insane is better than having no one to talk to, but that's just how she feels. I want to overcome fate and see what's waiting in the future too, but it won't mean anything if you weren't there with me. I'm sure that's similar to my own claim. There's no point in living past June 1983 if I'm the only one who does. My ideal future is to survive past June and let the happy times continue like always without anyone missing. Hanyu feels the same. She doesn't want a world where I'm not by her side. We're repeating this world only because we want to. It wasn't just Hanyu's power. It was one we shared together. Hanyu wants to be with me just like I want to build myself a happy future. We both want the same thing. But if I refused to repeat the world, again, my long life would be over. Yet I never refused, no matter how sick and tired of it I was. For over 100 years, I kept believing something good would happen eventually. However, our power is weakening. We can only go back a few weeks at most. We have so little time to try and change our fate. If we keep it up, eventually we'd only be able to go back to the morning of the day I'm going to die. That'd be a dead end for sure. I don't think a life this fortunate will ever come my way again. If my time was unlimited, I'm sure it would happen, but I can't count on it. What time I do have left. Hanyu told me to wait for another chance because she doesn't want to see me lose myself, but she isn't feeling the time limit like I am. Nightmare to die over and over again. Before I end up in that hell. I want to pull the curtain down with my own hands. This is going to be my last world. If this one doesn't work out, well, I'm not going to repeat it again. Let me translate what she's trying to say. This world's no different from any other world. You're not going to win. Don't bet on this life. Your lifespan isn't as short as you think. You should wait for your next opportunity in this endless June. Stay with me until then. Stay with me and wait for your next chance. That's what you're going to say, isn't it? Why don't you just pray for us? Pray we can persuade the Child Center to save Satoko. Pray I can defeat the fate of 1983. If I overcome this fate, let's do all those things I promised I'd do. Let's eat this year's watermelon while enjoying the evening breeze through the window. What kind of fall are we going to have? How much snow are we getting this winter? Let's enjoy the weather. Enjoy all sorts of things we've never seen. We'll watch the next episode of that TV show we like. We'll enjoy our future together. You always said we're going to work hard until that day came, but it's not fair for you to say you're going to give up when this life just doesn't work out. Sorry, I couldn't keep that promise. Sure, we'll overcome this fate. You'll be there with me, Hanyu. Let's look at the blue sky when that happens. I'm sure that the sky of the summer of 1983 is more beautiful than any we've ever seen. I'm going to make a miracle happen in this world. God did not design humans so they could redo their lives again and again like me. People usually only get one chance, yet they can make miracles happen with effort. They work so hard because they know they'll never have a chance to do it over again. That's why miracles occur. If I can't make one happen with all that, well, I just have to give up. I don't need another life. I'm gonna make a miracle happen in this one. My friends taught me that. They taught me miracles happen when everyone works together. So it's going to happen. We'll make it happen. We're going to have a wonderful future in this life. Rika. Anya disappeared, sobbing sadly. She was no longer in my sight, but I could still talk to her. Anya, we're gonna have a bright future in this world. Just trust me. If you'd give me your power, it might be easier to make a miracle happen. This is the best possible stage I can hope for. The actors on the stage and the audience before can help each other. If you wish, you, the audience, can change the story too. I've made my decision. I'm gonna go up on stage. We can change this? We can change it? Really? I'm not gonna complain. I'll do my best like Keiichi and my other friends. And I'm not going to make any more excuses. I won't wait for another fortunate world. I have to do my best in this one. I'm not talking about my decision to die after this world's over. I'm just saying people are meant to only have one chance to live. That's why they work so hard. I had so many chances. I haven't been working hard enough. I was never able to make a miracle happen. In my previous life, Ran took over the school. Because I got in her way, Keiichi made it in time to stop the explosion. The story changed because I decided to get on stage. Perhaps in my other lives before that I could have changed my situation if I worked hard enough without giving up, but I kept giving up and eventually lost interest in those worlds. And so a miracle never happened. A miracle never happened because I always rely on the fact I didn't have another chance. On you. I hope you can understand. Please don't be sad and work hard with me in this world. I couldn't tell if she understood me. I assertively spoke to the officials about how much danger Satoko was in. Keiichi and Eri made their appeals from the bottom of their hearts. I had no idea how the center took it, what we said so passionately. All I could do was pray. How was it, Kei-chan? Well, it felt like a repeat of yesterday. We went over the same things. We talked about that. We're still not reaching them? I guess they said they need to look at matters more carefully? Pretty much. They said they'd visit once a week and make a decision 1 month from now. You gotta leave her with her uncle for a whole month? How come they can't understand how much this Satoko will be hurt in that time? My para clearly explained to them the dangers she's facing. I also told them about what happened to her last year. However, they're really not going to consider it an urgent case unless Satoko seeks help herself? I don't mean to cut into your conversation, but is it possible for you to get Satoko to ask for help? He said he's going to destroy Satoshi's room if she tries to leave him. What a horrible thing to say. Still not changing their minds? Satoko can't even ask for help because she's being taken advantage of? No, she's being held hostage. Phrasing is slightly off there. The purpose of a child consultation center is to protect children. I was starting to get angry the more I thought about it. But as I thought about it more, I realized they were just trying to do their job. It was just that our opinions differed about the degree of urgency. We told them to save her as soon as possible. They told us she should be the one asking for help. Is there any way to resolve this? Is there any way to get an SOS from her? We spoke to them about it. It seemed like they were listening closely to us, but it also sounded like they're still not going to take any action. When the head of the office showed up, I thought I could change things today, but, well, everything went the same as yesterday, and we still couldn't persuade them. However, I'm sure we're making progress. It might seem like they're withstanding our blows at first glance, but they're feeling the weight behind them, right? We're not going to give up because it didn't work out. We're going to fight until they get off their butts and save Satoko. I mean, you have like a couple more days, right? You have like 1 or 2? You have one or 2 more days before Rika has to write the world off. I told everyone we're gonna do this again tomorrow too, but we might get less people next time. This is really annoying. We're working hard. This is all we can do. We can't give up yet. We might have less people tomorrow, but we're not gonna call off our 4th appeal. Even if no one comes, I'm going. I'm not gonna give up until they agree to help Satoko. Same. I'm not giving up there. Thanks, Mion. I'll take whoever comes. I can see you guys from the window. Those banners must have looked really intimidating to them. I'm glad I stayed up all night making them. Thanks for your sashes too, Eri. No problem. I wish I could do more than this. I'm gonna get more involved. I was about to give up on saving Satoko, but seeing Keiichi and Eri talking with the head of the office made me feel motivated. Rika was always watching from afar. It made me a little happy to see Rika getting more active in the whole movement. I wonder what Rika can do. Next time I see Satoko, I'll persuade her to seek help. I think I'm the only one who can do that. Best of luck. The same thing was on all our minds. The issue will be resolved the moment Satoko seeks help. But nobody can say that to her, because we all know she's dealing with the memories of her brother. Satoko. I know how you feel about Satoshi, but this is different. Please ask the center to help you. As long as you're seeking help, they're ready to save you anytime. Don't be afraid your uncle's going to destroy the room. Please ask for them to save you. But without even knowing Satoshi's face, I could never say that to her. The only person who can ask her to help is Rika. She's been living with her for the past year. She's like family. It's true. I told her to stay, but she didn't listen to me. It's sad, but the only person who can talk to her is Rika. I wish I could talk to her too, but I agree. Rika's her best friend. If she can't persuade her, well, no one can. It opens Satoko's heart. I'm sure everything will resolve itself. It might be the better approach than going to the center like this. It's not quite true. Although Reina isn't wrong either. We both have to reach out our hands. Satoko needs to reach out too. I also have to do the same. If everyone doesn't work together, a miracle doesn't happen. I didn't work hard enough because I didn't believe we could do it, so the miracle never happened. I'm gonna make a greater effort. I'm sure Satoko will take my hand. I can't really explain what I want to say. Sorry. Rika's usually a quiet girl, but she talks a lot every once in a while. Just because she's quiet doesn't mean she's not thinking about anything. In fact, because she's quiet, she must have a lot inside her heart that she's never expressed. We're going to continue our appeal to the center. Rika's going to persuade Satoko. This is the best approach, or at least the best one I can think of. It might be slow and quiet, but now that I'm in the game, I can't quit until I win. If I gave up, I'd lose all I bet on. We're gonna save Satoko. We just have to work together. But we don't have much time left to fight. What to do? We're gonna have less people tomorrow. In other words, we can't intimidate the center any more than we did today. I couldn't see any way to break our deadlock with the center, so I had no choice but to swallow down the irritation starting to boil in my chest and pretend not to notice it. It's getting dark. Mion, you should tell everyone to go home now. I have a festival committee meeting tonight, so I have to head straight there after this. But I need to go to the meeting too. I almost forgot. That meant I had to go too. Well, it wouldn't be a big deal if I missed the meeting. I should still go. I don't understand most of what they're talking about, but I don't want to be rude. I'd have no choice but to go. I guess we need to wrap things up today. Otherwise, you're not going to make it in time for the meeting. Mion thanked everyone who came today and told them to meet at the same place, same time tomorrow. And with that, the third day of our desperate appeal was over. Hello? It's me, Keiichi. Yeah, I'll eat when I get home. I'm going straight to the assembly hall from here. Dad's on his way, right? Okay, got it. I called my mom and told her I'd be going to the meeting without coming home. I get there kind of early, but if I went home first, I wouldn't make it. I always hate when that happens. I've been there a few times where it's like, oh, I should stop and get dinner. Checks to watch. Yeah, if I stop and get dinner, I'm going to be late. Mion, Rika, and Eri were going to head there with me. Shion said she was also coming, and now Reina didn't want to go home alone either. I won't be home until late tonight. I'm coming too. I hope that's alright with you guys. I hope. Fine with us. They'll be glad to see a bunch of young people there. Okay, man. The average age will plummet. I want to say hi to Uncle Kimiyoshi too. I haven't seen him in a while. We all headed towards the shrine in the dim light. The light was on in this assembly building, and some people had already arrived. Good evening. You guys are early. Hello, Mion, and friends. Good evening, Dr. Eri. Good evening, you're here early. Well, we don't have anything else to do. More people started coming into the meeting hall. Everyone seemed to come so early, I should probably come earlier from now on, too. I thought I saw a lot of fashionable shoes at the entrance today. There's a lot of young people here. Shion, it's been so long. What brought you here today? Everyone bowed to the newest arrival. It was the mayor, Kimiyoshi. He strode into the room with the other committee members. Hello, it's been a while. I was hanging out with my sis, and I just happened to come along with them. Oh, is that so? Well, you're welcome here. You're coming to Watanagashi this year, right? Yeah, I'm going this year for sure. I want to see Kei-chan hosting the auction, too. It's time for young people like you to take over the festival, I guess. By the way, I wanted to talk to you, Mion. Can you come this way? Fine, what is it? Is that guy from the refreshment booth team still angry? Well, Mion headed outside with Keiichi and the other committee members. There's only one room in the building, so they have to go outside if they want to talk in private. A one-room building, that's very small. Today's Thursday, we only have 3 more days until the festival. You ready for the auction? Not much I can do. I'm ready to get on stage and do my thing, though. I think Keiichi's performance will... I think Keiichi performs best under pressure. Everyone laughed. We continued to chat about the festival. We talked about what kind of festival young people like us would like to see, that kind of stuff. And suddenly Mion tapped me on the shoulder. Keiichi, I need you for a second. She gestured for me to follow her out front without letting the others know. What did she want this time? Once outside, I see Mion, Chie-sensei, and the principal. Oh, Chie-sensei, principal. Good evening. Chie responded to my greeting, but the principal must not have heard me since he didn't. His eyes were closed and he seemed lost in thought. That sight caused our happy, chatty feelings to cool off quickly. My intuition told me this had to be about something bad. I need to talk to you, my Baraku. Ooh, what are we talking about? I assume that would be the scenario from earlier in the day? But I'm afraid it's getting a little bit late, so... And my voice is starting to give out. I mean, I'd love to keep going, but if my voice gives out, you guys aren't gonna love it, so... After another drink, I think we're gonna end our adventure into the world of Hinamizawa and Higurashi's story here.